Northport, New York, Long Island Rowing Club. So those are your three that are out front here. Beautiful colors in this race right now in terms of the shells. Sometimes see it in these smaller boats that will have different colors other than a lot of black and white and gray shells. And you see Claire Campbell out front with about a half a length here on the two competitors right behind her that are dead heated in lanes 3 and 5. It is the Hockaday School entry, Teal Cohen, a girls' school in Dallas up there in that teal boat, and then closer to us in a gray boat is Miranda Nicolin from Long Island Rowing Club. These three boats have open water on the rest of the field behind them, about a length of open water behind them. A pretty good race going on between lane 6, Alex Berry from NorCal in a bright red boat closest to us, and then all the way up in lane 1 in a bright blue boat is Shannon Gallup from North Bay. So, and just behind them is Bridget Kennedy from Narragansett in lane 2. She's also in a yellow Empacher. But out front, these three ladies that are moving through the 500 meters, it's Claire Campbell with a full length, so it looks like she's kind of in the driver's seat here. She's going to see what happens behind her, and she's at a relatively low rating for this semifinal in that Empacher. She's got about 3 feet of open water back to Teal Cohen, who finished 4th in the time trial up there from the Hockaday School in that teal boat, and Teal Cohen has about a deck on the single sculler from Long Island, Miranda Nicolin in lane 5. These ladies just kind of want to go as a pack, it looks like, with Claire Campbell sort of setting the pace, and then behind them the second and third place boats, the Hockaday and Long Island boats, connected as we come through about 650 meters. Behind those three boats, we have a really great race going on, and it'll probably shape up, if this continues down the race course, to be a great B final amongst these three ladies. The boat in lane 1, Shannon Gallup from North Bay, in the blue boat. Just above her, or closer to the wave attenuator here in lane 2 from Narragansett, Bridget Kennedy. She has put on a big move. She's taken about a length. She was a little bit off the pace of both lane 6, Alex Berry, and lane 1, Shannon Gallup. She is now dead even at 750 with Alex Berry, and she has gotten ahead of Shannon Gallup from North Bay. So a little movement back there, but nice and bunched up. Good race going on. A couple lengths of open water behind your third place boat, Miranda Nicolin from Long Island in lane 5, who is still connected, just barely, but she is still connected by a couple of feet with Teal Cohen from the Hockaday School, still sitting in second place in lane 3. And Claire Campbell has extended her lead to almost a full length of open water now on the rest of the field, in a situation where, like I said, I think there's probably a little bit left in her tank that we may see tomorrow in the grand final that she's not really having to show yet in this semifinal. She's approaching 1,000 meters, is Claire Campbell. She's going to hit that threshold right now. She has 1,000 meters to go to put herself in the grand final of the women's single. A full length of open water back to Teal Cohen. A little bit of a move now from Miranda Nicolin in lane 5 to get into Teal Cohen a bit, but in these single sculls, especially when you're close in lanes, you can kind of feel what's happening with these other boats. Cohen is responding, but it's much closer for second and third now between lanes 3 and 5. Behind them, it's about 2.5, 3 lengths of open water back to your new fourth place boat that is solidly in fourth place, and that is the boat from Narragansett, Bridget Kennedy. And she's going to have to really find a tremendous second half to try to get into one of these top 3 positions. She's got a little bit of ground to catch these ladies in the top 3 spots. Claire Campbell out in front. It's now a length and a half open as she approaches 1250. She's rowing in her yellow Empacher. She's got white blades and a black uni suit, rowing for New Canaan in Connecticut. And she just hit the threshold, 750 meters left for Claire Campbell. 2 boat lengths of open water now. Really good race going on for second and third. These two ladies have been battling all the way down the race course. They have been connected the entire way. It is Teal Cohen in lane 3 in that teal boat. She rows with green blades. She's from the Hockaday School in Dallas. And Miranda Nicolin from Long Island Rowing Club in Northport, New York, who has actually just for the first time taken second place. She's got a couple of feet now on Teal Cohen, And this may get a little bit interesting because the single sculler from Narragansett up there in lane 2, Bridget Kennedy, is in a yellow Empacher also with white blades, and she has been moving for the last 500 meters on everybody. She only has about a length and a half of open water to catch third place Teal Cohen, so we'll see what happens if Miss Cohen can hold her off, but it should be a good last 500. I'll give it to you at the finish line. Claire Campbell out in front, 500 meters left. Behind her in second place, Miranda Nicolin in lane 5, and then Teal Cohen in lane 3 in third.
Thank you, David Wyant. Very much appreciated as we start this second day competition at the 2017 U.S. Rowing Youth Nationals at Nathan Benderson Park in Sarasota, Florida. The women's singles semifinals starting out the day. Claire Campbell in control of the race right now, but some movement with Teal Cohen and Miranda Nicolin both fighting for that second place, with Miranda in second right now as they approach 350 meters from the finish. I'm Mark Purcell, joining David Wyant, and here on the tower, Matt Muffelman. Thank you very much for being here, Matt. And I tell you what, this single scullers, this is a challenge that many rowers face, and they learn a lot when they get in a boat all by themselves.
Absolutely, Mark. It's direct feedback. It's full responsibility for the results of your race. Whatever you put in, you get out of it. And a lot of the high technical skills are being on display here. The class of the field with a fair amount of rowing pedigree in the family, Claire Campbell, her brother Andrew, having represented the United States at the Olympic Games in Rio, is out in the front, but behind her is where the real action is. In second place right now is Long Island in one of the near lanes, but over in lanes 2 and 3 is Bridget Kennedy of Narragansett and Teal Cohen and Hockaday. They're going to be battling it out now for that final qualifying position, and it does look like Bridget of Narragansett maybe have made some inroads and moved past Hockaday.
Coming down, Claire Campbell glancing over her right shoulder towards the finish line. She can see all the competition as she rows. A nice showing here from Miranda Nicolin from Long Island. It looks like she will take second place, and indeed Bridget Kennedy from Narragansett. Big move in the final 500, passing Teal Cohen from Hockaday for that fourth place, but crossing the line first, Claire Campbell from New Canaan in the first semifinal for the women's single. Miranda Nicolin from Long Island second, and a nice showing from Bridget Kennedy from Narragansett there at the end to come in third. Teal Cohen in fourth from Hockaday, and then it's Sharon Gallup from North Bay and Alex Berry from NorCal on the crossing the finish line. Now back up to David for the semifinal number 2 of the women's single. It's Emma Conity from the Seattle Preparatory School in 1, Megan Hinkle from Greater Dayton in 2, Caitlin Gildersleeve from Episcopal School Dallas in 3, Kendall Fernley from Seabase in 4, Olivia Farrar from Pittsford in 5, and Sailor Strugar from Colorado Junior in 6. To David for the call. We'll catch up with David in just a moment, and it does look like right now it's Caitlin Gildersleeve from the Episcopal School of Dallas that is in the lead as we look at the drone shot on this fine Saturday morning. 75 degrees here in Sarasota. Cloudy start to the day, some clouds clearing now, though. And a nice look at these girls, these lady athletes as they line up in their singles. Nice showing right now from Caitlin Gildersleeve with looks like a good fight between Megan Hinkle from Greater Dayton and Kendall Fernley from Seabase for that second spot right now.
And I think Seabase is going to be the crew to watch in this event. She came in second in the time trial, had a really solid piece before. And again, with the full 2,000 meters for single scullers, as we saw in the previous race, you have to go the full length of the course to find it out. And it's going to be who can have that technical prowess, who's going to propel the boat in the second half of this race that'll really dictate who makes it into the A final.
Up there in lane 2, Megan Hinkle from Greater Dayton. These three boats are about a length and a half open water back to fourth place, which is the boat in lane 5, Olivia Farrar from Pittsford, New York. So it is sort of like the last semifinal at this point, at least through the halfway point, where we have a pack of 3 that are out in front for those 3 qualifying spots in the A final. And here comes a move now through the 1,000 from the boat in lane 4. That is Kendall Fearnley. She wants the lead now. She wants to take it from Caitlin Gildersleeve, and it is stroke for stroke up front, lanes 3 and 4. Of note is the single sculler from Greater Dayton, Megan Hinkle, in lane 2, rowing at a very low rating up there in her blue boat with blue and red blades. So we'll see if that comes into play. She might really be able to hang on to the same speed through this third 500. She may have some left in the tank here for her finish. But we have a new leader. It is lane 4, Kendall Fearnley. Like I said, she finished second to Claire Campbell in the time trial that we ran yesterday morning, and she wants to put herself right next to Claire Campbell in that grand final tomorrow morning. She has almost a full length now and just continues to move away, so she really wants to get herself a cushion, maybe an open water cushion, and she has a couple of feet of open water now, still on second place, lane 3, Caitlin Gildersleeve, and here comes Miss Hinkle from Greater Dayton, starting to move in. Her bow is right on the hand, so it's right halfway down the boat of that second place boat from Episcopal School of Dallas, Caitlin Gildersleeve in lane 3. 1,300 meters in for your leader, 700 meters to go. It is Kendall Fearnley from Seabase in Newport, California. She has half a length of open water to still second place. The white boat with black blades, maybe a white logo on the inside of them. The lady who had the lead early, Caitlin Gildersleeve from the Episcopal School of Dallas, doing everything she possibly can to hold off Megan Hinkle from Greater Dayton. This is a great race between the two of them, really a lot of back and forth, similar to what we saw in the first semifinal, where we had somebody out in front and then second and third was hotly contested. I'll give it to you at the finish line. It's Kendall Fearnley from Seabase out in front of Caitlin Gildersleeve and Hinkle.
Indeed, it's interesting to see how things can change in a hurry in the singles. Again, it's all on you, as Matt had said, when it comes to rowing these beautiful boats. And Matt, you're really cheering for Kendall Fearnley. You kind of have a personal stake in here with being a seller of these boats.
I am, but at the end of the day, it really is the horses and not the chariot. And I tell you what, right now, Kendall is really putting in the work. Great water here right now. This comes down to the athletes. We're not having to worry about wind. We're not having to worry about waves. This is a straight shot on one of the most beautiful courses in the world. And if you get a chance, take a look across on the far shore. You will see parents, spectators, coaches able to ride their bikes along and follow the action live as we follow in with Caitlin Gildersleeve of Episcopal and Megan Hinkle trying to track down Kendall Fearnley from the Seabase.
And Olivia Farrar from Pittsford in lane 5 making some move as well as they come by the beach, but out front it is Kendall Fearnley from Seabase here in the second semifinal for the women's single. It looks like Megan Hinkle is beginning to make a move here on Caitlin Gildersleeve. Gildersleeve, the early leader in this race, and Olivia Farrar from Pittsford here in lane 5 beginning to move forward as well. But out front in the second semifinal, the top 3 heading to the final, the A final on Sunday. It's Kendall Fearnley from Seabase in the lead, with Megan Hinkle and Caitlin Gildersleeve battling, and Olivia Farrar in the mix as well.
Olivia Farrar is making the biggest push right now. She's got overlap again with Greater Dayton and Episcopal. Episcopal may have taken a rough stroke right there, allowing Greater Dayton to get about a quarter of a length, half a length lead on it. And Olivia Farrar from Pittsford is charging. She's going to try and catch Caitlin Gildersleeve in the final 10 strokes. 3 boats across for 2 spots. Seabase comes across the line first with 3 bow balls charging for the line. Bow ball to bow ball, 3 boats. It's going to be, looks like Megan Hinkle of Greater Dayton got the second position, but for third, we're going to have to go review the tape.
Wow, what a finish there from Olivia Farrar from Pittsburgh. A big second, last 500 for Olivia. Megan Hinkle from Greater Dayton, cool and calm throughout the race. And here comes Emma Conity from Seattle Preparatory School in the second semifinal of the women's singles here at the USRowing Youth National Championship Regatta. Glad to have you along, live streaming. We'll go back to the start. right, getting things underway here at the Youth National Championships, the second day of semifinals. We'll have C and D finals later in the day, and of course heading for the big championship races tomorrow, the A finals and the B finals. In the meantime, on the course, just out of the start and just underway, is the first of the semifinals for the men's singles. The lineup: in lane 1, Maxwell Hyde from Seattle Preparatory School. In lane 2, Jackson Moore from GPS McCallie. In lane 3, Doran Finley from Redwood Scholars Stanford Center. Lane 4, Drake Duell from Dallas United. In lane 5, Thomas Satterwhite from Narragansett. And in lane 6, Zachary Steinfeld from California Yachts. The men's singles underway down the course. We don't have a picture, and we're waiting to get a camera on it so we can tell you who is doing what. But I can tell you again that the first time you get in one of these singles as a rower, as sculler especially, you will learn exactly what you're doing wrong. Everything you thought that your crewmates were doing wrong in the boat, you find out, well, gosh, that was me pulling hard on the ports. So,
absolutely. There's nobody to blame but yourself. You get all the accolades, but you get all the repercussions of whether you slack off. You actually are accountable for every watt that you put into the oar.
And very interesting, too, not only for the stability of the boat, but the power as well. And it does give you a sense of satisfaction when you do grasp that. I do feel it makes you a better sculler, at least, to row a single and get a feel for things. So the first semifinal for the men's singles underway. Thomas Satterwhite from Narragansett battling with Maxwell Hyde from Seattle Prep and from Doran Finley from the Redwood Scholars. In the meantime, also on the outside, Zachary Steinfeld from California Yacht is looking good. We'll send it up to David at the start, about the 500-meter mark, to catch up on his call for this first semifinal for the men's singles.
And Doran Finley has about a deck on the boat from lane 1, Maxwell Hyde from Seattle Preparatory School. But if you look at this entire field, you can get them all in one camera shot here, because it's only about 2.5 boat lengths separating the boat up front in lane 5 from Narragansett with the boat in lane 4, which actually was your time trial winner, Drake Duell from Dallas United. He also owns a world record, or excuse me, a U.S. record on the ERG 607 for a lightweight rower. Pretty unbelievable. And it looks like he went pretty conservatively off the start. He's starting to move now. You can see his bow kind of pushing up, so we'll see if he can get into the top 3. He has put himself at 750 in the 3rd place spot, and he's trying to grab connection with that boat in 2nd place in lane 3 from Redwood Scholars Stanford Center. So you never really know. Some people don't perform super well in a time trial, and it looks to me like the gentleman from Narragansett may have not had a great time trial, but he's really having a good semifinal here in that blue boat in lane 5. He's wearing a white visor. Narragansett, with a tremendous pedigree in these sculling events, have done a great job for the last 4 or 5 years, winning a lot of medals at youth nationals. And he has about 3/4 of a length, but there is connection with the boat in 2nd place in lane 3, that beautiful gray boat that Doran Finley is rowing on behalf of Redwood Stanford Center. And here comes Drake Duell. Drake Duell is rowing in a yellow Empacher white blades. He's in lane 4, and he now has a solid connection as we come through 1,000 with 2nd place Doran Finley. And he is about to grab a connection with the gentleman in lane 5, Thomas Satterwhite from Narragansett. There is open water behind Drake Duell, back to a tremendous race, sort of very similar here now as we come through 1,000 to the 2 women's semifinals, where we have 3 boats up front that are relatively close to one another, and then a pack that is very close behind them. In lane 6 is your 4th place single sculler, Zachary Steinfeld from California Yacht Club in LA. And here comes Drake Duell. He's still moving. He now is in 2nd place. So, as I said, went pretty conservatively off the start, and he's really got a lot of speed through this middle half, does Drake Duell, and he now is in a solid 2nd place and continues to move. Now the gentleman, Thomas Satterwhite, who kind of got to sit there and watch for a while with about a length advantage on the rest of the field, Drake Duell is bearing down on him. It's only a deck advantage now for Thomas Satterwhite over Drake Duell. Drake Duell with half a length over the gentleman in lane 3 that he just passed, Doran Finley from Redwood Scholars. And then it's about a length and a half open water back to lane 6, Zachary Steinfeld from California Yacht. Connected with him are the other two single scullers, Jackson Moore from McCallie in Chattanooga and Maxwell Hyde from Seattle Preparatory School in lane 1. Up front, it is a back and forth race now. Lanes 4 and 5. Whoever's in the water is in the lead. They are going at it. Drake Duel, lane 4. Thomas Satterwhite, lane 5. And they are stroke for stroke here, not dropping in at the same time, so whoever is pulling through the water is the one that's in the lead. I'll give it to you at the finish line. Should be a great finish. Drake Duel from Dallas United, Thomas Satterwhite from Narragansett in front of third place, Doran Finley.
What a battle shaping up here, and Thomas Satterwhite and Drake Duel, they are quite accomplished as rowers. As a matter of fact, Drake Duel only started sculling this last summer. He's the Concept 2 record holder, the fastest under-19 lightweight in the United States. 6:07 he pulled on that machine. Thomas Satterwhite from Cranston, Rhode Island, just graduated from the Wheeler School in Providence, and they are battling at the front of this first semifinal for the men's singles. Back and forth between Drake Duel and Thomas Satterwhite from Dallas United and Narragansett, respectively. And also hanging right in there, Doran Finley. He had that good run rolling before these two began to battle it out, and it does look, Matt, as if Drake might be having a little bit of an advantage right now as they come by the beach.
Absolutely. I think Drake has a little bit more in the gas tank. Thomas Satterwhite from Narragansett seems to have come out hot in the first 1,000, but has cooled off here in the second 1,000. That third 500 is really where the rubber meets the road. He's finding it a little bit too much. Drake has really extended his lead out to a full length, maybe a little bit of open water. You're going to watch Doran Finley from Redwood Scullers in Stanford Center marching up on him as well, but at this point, those three scullers have put in enough work to separate themselves from 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Zachary Steinfield from California Yacht on the move as well, and Maxwell Hyde and Jackson Moore moving right along. A nice shape as they come to the line, but Drake Duel in control right now. Looks like Thomas Satterwhite, though, has given him a challenge here in the final few meters of this race. Also, it looks like Doran Finley hanging on as well, but as they come to the line, it's going to be tight. We'll have to see how hard Thomas Satterwhite pulls from Narragansett, but Drake Duel sees that challenge and crosses the line first by about a boat length, and then it is Thomas Satterwhite and Doran Finley, boat length to boat length, and a strong finish from Zachary Steinfield from California Yacht, then Maxwell Hyde from Seattle Prep, and Jackson Moore from GPS McCallie in that order in the first semifinal for the youth singles.
It's always nice to be up here in the peanut gallery. You never know what sort of chess match was going in on that race, but we're going to be heading over to the next semifinal of the youth men's single. In lane 1, Jesse Kahn from Miami Beach. Lane 2 is going to be Alex Abruzzi from Maritime. Lane 3 will be James Wright from Germantown Friends. Lane 4, Gregory Kane from Mile High. Lane 5, Connor Donadio from GMS. And lane 6 will be Rudy Skowronski from Artemis. My apologies to family members if I butchered your name.
I got to practice those names before you tried them, Matt, so I feel for you.
There you go.
It is Connor Donadio from GMS who has taken an early lead, but it's James Wright from Germantown Friends not far behind. Gregory Kane in third place right now in the second semifinal for the men's singles.
Black and orange. He's only got a couple of feet on the gentleman in lane 4, Gregory Kane from Mile High. So those three boats out a little bit. There is about a foot or two of open water back to 4th place, which is the gentleman Alex Abruzzi from East Norwalk Maritime. And Maritime has about a full length on this gentleman in lane 6 right in front of us, and that is Rudy Skowronski from Artemis. So, out front, again, sort of a pack of 3 boats. All 3 are connected. We'll see if this gentleman in lane 5, Connor Donadio from GMS, can hang on to the lead all the way down the race course. He looks to be in a brand new boat here. It's bright white, really reflecting the sun. But he's only got about a deck. So in these boats, in these singles, that's about 3.5, 4 feet. And here comes the gentleman as we come through 1,000 in lane 4, really pushing it. That is from Mile High, Gregory Kane. He finished second in the time trial, and he looks like he wants to sniff the lead here. And he just took it over from Connor Donadio by maybe a couple inches, and he continues to move out just a little bit. So we'll see how Donadio responds in lane 5. But going with them and still connected with them is a gentleman from Philadelphia from Germantown Friends, James Wright, in lane 3. Because these gentlemen up front are battling and really trying to find their speed relative to one another, they have pulled out from the rest of the field fairly considerably. It's 2 lengths of open water now back to your new 4th place, or continued 4th place, which is the gentleman from Norwalk, Connecticut, Alex Abruzzese from Maritime. So as we approach 1250, it is sort of 2 packs again, almost as we've seen in all of these single sculls races this morning. But the gentleman to the red buoy line at 1250 first, with 750 to go, is our second place qualifier, Gregory Kane from Mile High. He now has a full half length and continues. He wants a full length. It looks like he's continuing to kind of put his back into it, really press through the water to get ahead of the new second place now. So Mr. Wright from Germantown Friends has passed Mr. Donadio, your early leader, through about 800 meters from GMS in lane 5. He has fallen to 3rd, but he is still connected, still with good speed. He's connected to James Wright, and he's almost connected. I think the overlap has just been broken between lanes 4 and 5. Gregory Kane out front and Connor Donadio in lane 3. But again, these 3 gentlemen, really barring some big mistake in the last 500, will be your qualifiers for the A final. I'll give it to you at the finish line. Gregory Kane from Mile High out in front of a good race behind him.
And I think David summed it up right. As long as they keep their act together, you have to cross the line and keep your form and technique going. It's not all the power. It is as much technique as it is power, right, Matt, when it comes to rowing these singles?
Absolutely. It's got to be the perfect marriage of the two in order to make sure that you're going to be out in front. Right now, Gregory Kane of Mile High seems to have that combination down pat.
James Wright from Germantown Friends in second. Connor Donadio from GMS in third at this point. Nice fight going on between the lanes 1 and 2. Jesse Kahn from Miami Beach and Alex Abruzzese from Maritime. They are battling for 4th place right now, with Alex in, I would say, having that advantage for the 4th place. But out front, it is a fight between Gregory Kane from Mile High and now James Wright from Germantown Friends beginning to make a move. Connor Donadio hanging in 3rd right now. The top 3 going to that A final and the rest to the B final here in this second semifinal for the men's singles. But what a battle shaping up. A big move. James Wright from Germantown Friends coming on, Matt.
Absolutely. A really tight pack here. Really impressive to see these junior scullers keeping it so competitive. A lot of times it turns into a bit of a parade. But I tell you what, James Wright is really putting in the work. He's had overlap on Gregory Kane for almost the entire race, and they are having just a really nice battle back and forth. Right now, Gregory Kane is keeping his bow out in front. Can just take a peek over there, really hanging with those long arms, nicely propelling the boat. And Connor Donadio of GMS is just kind of cruising in, making sure he's done enough work to stay ahead of Maritime.
The line. Here it goes, a battle between Gregory Kane and James Wright. It looks like Gregory Kane will be the one that passes over the line first with a big pull at the end. James Wright was giving him a run for his money, though. Connor Donadio from GMS in 3rd, qualifying for the A final. Now here's a battle for 4th place with Alex Abruzzese from Maritime crossing in 4th, and then Rudy Skoronsky from Artemis in 5th. Rounding out the second semifinal, Jesse Kahn from Miami Beach here at the 2017 U.S. Rowing Youth National Championships. And the races continue. Semifinals this morning, C&D finals later. It's the women's doubles semifinals next. In lane 1 from Oregon Unlimited, lane 2 City Island, lane 3 the twins from Miami Beach, lane 4 it's Cambridge, lane 5 Redwood Scullers and Stanford Center, and lane 6 Steel City as we go back to the start. Early on, advantage for Moe's twins from Miami Beach, the Larder sisters. They are in the lead by a full boat length over the lane 4, the boat from Cambridge. The pair from Cambridge, Mathis and Faneuf, won the Stotesbury in a quad and now are competing here in the Nationals in a double. They're getting a run for their money from the Redwood Scullers boat in lane 5. In the meantime, in 4th place, it's City Island, and battle for 5th between Oregon Unlimited and Steel City early in this first semifinal for the women's double.
Place, which is a boat in lane 4. which is your top qualifier from Cambridge Rowing Club. They are in a yellow Empacher boat. These Empacher boats are made in Germany. And if you will see, especially at the collegiate and really the international levels, they are the boats that are most used. But they come from Germany at a decent expense. So we see a lot of different manufacturers, especially at the youth level. In lane 3, we have the boat in lane 5 from Redwood Scullers Stanford Center. They are your 5th best qualifier. They're in a white boat with white blades. They have 3/4 of a length on the boat up in lane 2, and that is the boat from City Island in the Bronx, New York. They are coming through 750, a half a length down for 3rd place. So up front, it's getting much closer. Here comes a big move, and it started at about 700 meters, and it has given them the lead. It has the move from Cambridge Boat Club. Cambridge Boat Club now with a 2-foot advantage over Miami Beach, the Larder sisters. And these two boats look like they're going at it to an extent that they have really pulled out from the rest of the field. There's half a length of open water between Miami Beach sitting in 2nd place and the 3rd place Redwood Scullers boat in lane 5. Behind Redwood Scullers continues to be the boat in lane 2. You can tell, you can pick them out of the crowd because they're wearing these bright peach highlighter colored visors. It's a black boat with white blades from City Island, and City Island has some speed up there. It looks like they're moving through this second 500. As we approach 1,000, they're only going to be down about a deck on the ladies from Redwood Scullers that are in lane 5. So, as we come through 1,000, and your leaders are about 6 or 7 strokes past 1,000, it is almost a full length advantage now for your time trial winners, Cambridge Boat Club. They're trying to put themselves again in a middle lane in the grand final tomorrow and to try to vie for the national championship in the women's double. Behind them continues to be Miami Beach. They had a really good start. Looks like they're in a black fluid design double. Their blades are primarily white. They also have some navy blue and bright blue vertical stripes on the edges. And they have almost a full length of open water, maybe 3/4 of a length of open water back to 3rd place, which continues to be the boat in lane 5 from Redwood Scullers. Redwood Scullers holding off that boat in lane 2 from City Island as we speak, but it's getting very close between those two, and it should be a nice battle to the finish line to try to figure out who's going to make that grand final to try to vie for places 1 through 6 in the nation in the women's double. 1,300 meters down, 700 to go for your leaders. Up front, they are the ladies from Cambridge Boat Club. They now have open water on Miami Beach. It's probably 2 or 3 seats of open water to that Miami Beach boat up in lane 3, and Miami Beach maintains almost a full length still of open water back to this battle we've got going on. Really the best race within the race here, which is lane 5, Redwood Scullers, and lane 2, City Island. City Island down about a deck, maybe 4 or 5 feet to that boat in lane 5 from Redwood Scullers. So we'll see what happens in the last 500. I'm going to give it to you at the finish line. Out in front, almost a length of open water now, is Cambridge Boat Club over Miami Beach and Redwood Scullers.
Quite a battle happening between the Redwood Scullers and City Island there as they are coming down the course. But yes, the boat from Cambridge there in lane 4 looking very confident and stroking smoothly. The Larder twins from Miami Beach in 2nd, maintaining or trying to maintain contact with the boat from Cambridge. Twins are competing for the 2nd time at the Youth Nationals. They're undefeated this year in the double, and they are trying to make sure they don't besmirch that record this afternoon. So again, as they head by the beach, it is the boat from Cambridge in lane 4 in the lead. 2nd place belonging to Miami Beach. Then the Redwood Scullers and City Island still battling it out as we come down towards the finish.
Absolutely. It's been a cool spring up in Boston, Massachusetts, but it seems like Cambridge is certainly bringing the heat right now here down in Sarasota, Florida. Miami Beach is holding on nicely in a solid 2nd position, but behind them, the the battle with Redwood Scullers and City Island is actually where the action is happening. It does seem like Redwood Scullers have put in enough work that they have now about a 1-length lead, maybe extending that out into open water, trying to make up ground now on Miami Beach.
And Steel City in lane 6 moving fast as well as they come into the final 250 of this 2,000-meter race heading towards the finish. The first of the semifinals for the women's doubles on this Saturday morning here in Sarasota. It is Mathis and Phaneuf from Cambridge in the lead handily with an open water lead over the second place boat from Miami Beach. In the meantime, the Redwood Scullers trying to catch up with the Miami Beach boat, but they still have some work to do. Crossing the line, though, here at the finish of the first semifinal for the women's double, it is the boat from Cambridge, followed by the Miami Beach boat. Third place will belong to the Redwood Scullers. Oh, some trouble over in lane 2. It has to be heartbreaking for City Island to just catch a bad crab a mere 100 meters from the end. Crossing in fourth will be Steel City, and it looks like Oregon Unlimited will cross in fifth, and here the City Island boat is recovered. They're paddling furiously towards the finish, and they will finish sixth in this first semifinal for the women's double.
A really nice race there by the Cambridge crew. They've got Jevy Stone as an icon up there in Boston to be able to watch, and I tell you, seeing the Cambridge oars and unisuit, certainly a lot of pedigree there that they get to watch and learn from.
As we say, it's not over till it's over, and that's one little slip is all it takes to have something disastrous happen. Not necessarily disastrous, but certainly disappointing there in that first semifinal. This is the U.S. Rowing Youth National Championship, the second semifinal on right now. Lane 1, Sarasota Scullers. Lane 2, New Canaan. Lane 3, GMS. Lane 4, South Jersey. Lane 5, Upper Natoma. And Lane 6 is Atomic. The second semifinal for the women's double underway.
South Jersey is going to be one of the hotter crews here, having done well in the time trial, giving them that preferred lane. And local Sarasota Scullers over on the far shore will certainly hopefully raise the crowd and the volume as they come home in this their home course where they've been practicing for the past few weeks. They've earned a spot here at the Youth National Championships and hopefully can represent their family and the area very well.
We'd like to extend an invitation to any college coaches here this weekend to use floor 2 of the finish tower to view the racing, get a break from the heat. Food and beverages also provided. You just need to provide your coach's credentials, and which you can pick up at the main gate to access the tower. We welcome all the college coaches checking out these athletes, these young athletes, as they compete for the championship in the 2017 U.S. Rowing Youth National Championships.
We're getting word from the start that we had a crew that got a little antsy and jumped off the line a little early, so we have a false start in the second semifinal of the women's youth double. We're going to have to go ahead and get them all to stop, back it down, and reload into the starting gates before we get the second semifinal underway.
A few reminders along the way while we're waiting for the restart. Remember to stop by the Captain U tent at lunch today between 12:30 and 1:30, or tomorrow between 11:30 and 12:30 to learn more about the process for rowing in college. Interested athletes and parents should stop by the U.S. Rowing area and look for the Captain U tent. U.S. Rowing proud to be welcoming this new partner, Captain U, into the U.S. Rowing fold, so we will hope that you also will check that out. A lot of great vendors here, too. If you have a moment to break in racing that you will want to go wander around Nathan Benderson Park, we have JL Racing, the Siesta Key Bike and Kayak, where you can rent some bikes for hours, an hour or so till Sunday. Also, thanks to Catch and Feather, to Regatta Sport, Way Enough Stuff. Remind you not to miss out on their famous sports bras. And Rubini Jewelers, the tent. Browse a large selection of rowing jewelry. All the great vendors here at the 2017 U.S. Rowing Youth National Championships. From what we can discern, it does appear that the crews are back in the starting fingers and are aligning again. We'll wait the start of the second semifinal now. All these semifinals again, the top three in each of the semifinals going to the A finals tomorrow morning. and then the other 3 finishers in each semifinal going to the B finals. So A finals 1 through 6 in the nation, the B finals 7 through 12. The C finals, which you'll see a little later, are 13 through 18. Yeah.
Sounds right to me. A little early in the morning to do math,
etc. But we are looking at some of the top crews, the top youth crews in the nation, and they should be proud wherever they finish.
We're getting a great shot of the starting platform here, as you can see on the south end of the lake here, Nathan Benderson Park. It's a really extraordinary opportunity to be able to go and view the whole starting sequence. So I recommend coaches, family, parents, anybody who has an opportunity, get onto the far shore, make your way all the way up there. This is one of the few places in the world where you can follow along on the footpath, whether it be by bike, running, if you want to rollerblade. We also have a couple of, it looks like, golf carts following along in the back.
And a reminder that there will be a shuttle running between the spectating area and the ultra bar on the far side of the course near the finish line. You can see the tent, the white tent and the black tent side by side. And you can see the long golf cart now crossing the bridge. That shuttle will be moving back and forth between both shores all day long. So catch a ride over there, enjoy a beverage, and watch the races. In the meantime, it does appear that the second semifinal for the women's double is on the water again. Lane 1, Sarasota Scullers. Lane 2, New Canaan. Lane 3, GMS. Lane 4, South Jersey. Lane 5, Upper Natoma. Lane 6, Atomic. And it does appear to be a safe start now. They're out of the breakage area, and all the boats looking pretty even at this point.
A little too early to try and call a clear leader. All of them breaking into the first 250 meters, really still going through their starting sequence. You typically will start a race with less than a full stroke. A lot of crews starting with a half stroke or a three-quarter stroke just to get the boat to break its momentum, trying to get it up and running. And as we see, as we come into view, it's going to look like Lane 3 has the current advantage out in the lead as GMS leads the pack.
But South Jersey surging on, so we'll go up to David for the call.
All right, at 500 meters with the semifinal 2 of the women's youth double, your leader is GMS in lane 3. They have about a deck on the second GMS was the third qualifier from the time trial. The number 2 qualifier is the boat in lane 4 in second place from South Jersey, from Pennsauken, New Jersey. They have a full length on the third place boat, which is a yellow boat up there in lane 2 from New Canaan. And this race is relatively spaced out. You'll see the fourth place boat is a bright blue boat in lane 5 from Upper Natoma. Then there's a little bit of open water back to the boat in lane 6 from Atomic from Oak Ridge, Tennessee, with those atomic symbols on their blades. Pretty distinctive as they come down the race course. And those ladies have about a half a length on the boat all the way up in lane 1, the local boat from Sarasota Scullers. But back out in front at 750, coming through the red buoy line, it is about a deck advantage for lane 3, which continues to be GMS. You will see their unisuits are pink and blue. They're in a white boat with white blades. Just below them or closer to us, looks like they're rowing in a Felipe in lane 4. Are the ladies from South Jersey, and behind those two boats it is a full length of open water back to a back and forth fight for that third spot in the grand final. Right now it is being held by the boat from Upper Natoma in lane 5 from outside of Sacramento, Lake Natoma, where we just had the IRA regatta. They have half a length on that boat up there from New Canaan in lane 2. So those are your top 4. Again, there's a gap behind these two boats up front, and big move. As I was focusing on this battle for second and third, we have a new leader up front at the halfway point, and those are the ladies from South Jersey. Your second qualifier coming through 1,000. They just took more than a length on about a 20-stroke move to put themselves ahead. They actually now have almost a seat of open water on GMS, so they just dropped GMS. pretty strongly there over about 150 meters. But GMS still in solid second place with more than a boat length of open water back to lane 5. Upper Natoma still sitting in third place. In fact, Upper Natoma has extended their third place advantage to something that's a bit more comfortable over New Canaan up there in lane 2. So those are your top 4, again, pretty spaced out. And you look up front here in lane 4 with your leaders, the ladies from South Jersey, and they have extended their lead to more than a half a boat length of open water now as they approach 1250. So just a devastating move, starting at about 900 meters, going through about 1100, that just has these ladies from South Jersey rowing away from the field in this second semifinal of the women's double. Almost a full length of open water now, continuing to take inches every time they drop in the water and take a stroke. Behind them continues to be the boat in second place, but that was in first place up to 900 meters, and that is a boat from GMS in Connecticut. GMS has more than a 10-meter lead. You can see that they've got a little bit more than a buoy line lead over the boat in lane 5 from Upper Natoma. And Upper Natoma in that bright blue boat almost looks like Florida Gator colors for Floridians. They have about a seat of open water now on the boat up there in lane 2 from New Canaan. So it's starting to space out here in the second semifinal of the women's double. I'll give it to you at the finish line. Your leader by quite a margin now, South Jersey over GMS and Upper Natoma.
Rachel Pierce and Rose Carr, a big move there and beginning to dominate this second semifinal for the women's double. The South Jersey boat there in lane 4, one of the fastest qualifiers for the semi, and they are showing why they were. In the meantime, the boat from GMS hanging in there in second, and the boat from Upper Natoma, they train on the gorgeous, they train at high altitude actually at the gorgeous Horsetooth Reservoir there in California. They are holding on to third right now with the New Canaan boat giving them a bit of a challenge. After that, it's the Sarasota Scullers and Atomic in the field. Second semifinal, it's interesting, Matt, to see how sometimes these races can be quite close together and sometimes they can become real spread apart. And really, it varies from race to race. You never can tell how it's going to work out.
Absolutely, and it also varies from crew to crew. Some come in with a definite strategy. It certainly seems like South Jersey had a pre-planned move there at about the 900 or 1,000, and they put it to good use. Other times you just find yourself in a dogfight, and you have to scramble to do whatever it takes to stay ahead. At this point, with some separation coming out, it does look like South Jersey has a little bit of a comfortable lead, GMS in second, but it does look like New Canaan is going to try and make a push to get back into qualifying position. New Canaan in that yellow boat over on the farther side of the course is going to try and make up some ground on Upper Natoma. Upper Natoma needs to keep their eye on them to make sure that they don't sneak up on them.
Rachel Pierce, Rose Carr, South Jersey in women's double, second semifinal, beginning to row towards the finish line with a big strong move. It looks like the GMS boat beginning to dig in as well to hold on to second. New Canaan, I think, is running out of water to catch up with Upper Natoma. So as the second semifinal for the women's double ends, it is South Jersey crossing the line first. Here comes the boat from GMS in second, and a strong finish from Upper Natoma in lane 5 for third, with New Canaan taking fourth. It does appear a late burst from Atomic will mean that the hometown Sarasota Scullers will end up sixth in this second semifinal for the ladies' doubles. In the meantime, we're going to start the men's doubles. The first semifinal features Texas Center in lane 1, Sarasota Scullers in lane 2, Newport in lane 3, GMS in lane 4, Jacksonville in lane 5, and Olympia area in lane 6 to David for the call as they're crossing the 500-meter mark with looks like GMS in full control of this race, man.
Absolutely. GMS in that blue boat has put about a one length, maybe a little bit of open. Right now it looks like Olympia area currently in second. May have had a hot start here as the other crews begin to reel them in. It's looking like lane 2, the Sarasota Scullers are putting in a solid burst to try and get back onto terms with them.
We'll see what David has to say. He's got his eyes on the race, and we'll go to David for the call.
the boat in lane 3. So only a couple feet behind Sarasota Scullers, and Olympia is the boat in lane 3 from Newport. Newport really actually starting to move here. Looks like they're in an Empacher, and it is an unbelievable race. 3 boats just dead heated here for second, third, and fourth place as we come through the 1,000. It is a 3/4 boat length open water lead for GMS, trying to row away with this thing start to finish. I had them at 33 strokes a minute, so a pace that should be very manageable all the way down the race course. They're really in control of this race. But behind them is just an awesome battle between these 3 boats. It does look like Sarasota Scullers has dropped back just a little bit. It was a big move from Newport there before the 1,000 that has them now in second place by about 2 seats, so maybe about 4 feet over the boat in lane 6 from Olympia Area, and Olympia Area has about 3/4 of a length now on Sarasota Scullers, starting to fade just a little bit up there in lane 2. Your 5th place boat is the boat in lane 5 from Jacksonville. I think those gentlemen won the state championship that I called about a month and a half ago here on this very lake. They're rowing in a white Felipe with red blades, and they are connected with Sarasota Scullers that's up there in lane 2 in 4th place. Scullers is not giving up, but they maintain connection on 2nd and 3rd place as we come through 1250. Out front, almost a full-length open water advantage for this bright blue boat from GMS. They look very controlled. These gentlemen look like they have spent a lot of hours in this boat together. It's very clean. They're taking advantage of this beautiful flat water that we have this morning here at Nathan Benderson Park, and really putting on a show here in the first semifinal of the men's youth double. The race right now, we've got 2 races within the race behind GMS for 2nd and 3rd. It is too close to call. Stroke for stroke, Newport and Olympia Area. Olympia Area is in lane 6 in a white boat with primarily white blades, and then Newport up there in lane 3 in a yellow boat with white blades. Those 2 are stroke for stroke. Your new 4th place boat at 500 to go is Jacksonville. I'll give it to you at the finish line out in front.
What a show from GMS here with the Olympia Area. A nice showing, too, in this first semifinal for the men's doubles. Again, that battle happening right now for second between Olympia and Newport, going back and forth virtually with every stroke. But boy, look at these boats come down, and very, very tight together. It looks like, if you are stacking it up, GMS in first, the Olympia and Newport fighting for second, with Jacksonville getting into the mix as well, then Sarasota Scullers and Texas Center in that order.
I got to tell you what, it's looking like Jacksonville right now is coming hard and high as fast as they can. They're doing a little bit of steering on the course, trying to make sure they stay in the center, and they're going to try and catch up now with Olympia Area. The Olympia Area is going to be able to keep their eye on them. GMS having a really nice row, long armed hang, really propelling the boat with their legs. Newport out there as well in second position, holding it with Olympia Area rowing. But Jacksonville is going to try and make this. They're looking left, they're looking right. Newport and Olympia Area are going to have to look out as Jacksonville tries to take over a qualifying position.
GMS remaining in the lead, but a big surge here towards the end. Olympia Area beginning to pour it on. They see that threat from Jacksonville and have been responding. In the meantime, Newport also sensing that threat, trying to make sure that they qualify in a good spot. But as they come down to the line, it is GMS in very good shape as they cross the line first. Big surge from Olympia, but here comes Jacksonville. Oh no, right at the end, Olympia catches a crab. Oh, coming across, that's got to be a heartbreaker. It was Newport who crossed in second, and then Jacksonville in third. The Olympia Area obviously just sensing that little bit of pressure, and they ran into a problem there at the end. Sarasota Scullers crossing fifth, and Texas Center in sixth. It's not over till it's over. Right, Matt?
Absolutely. We're on to the next semifinal number 2 in the men's youth double. In lane 1, we've got Amadeus Academy. Lane 2, Saratoga. Lane 3, GMS. Lane 4, Miami Beach. Lane 5, Shenandoah. And in lane 6, Maritime.
Early lead for Miami Beach in the second semifinal, out to about a boat length lead. Second looks like it belongs to the boat from Shenandoah. And then men, but they are really battling with a boat from GMS here in this. Just 2 GMS boats in the semifinals for the men's doubles, revealing the strength of their program. Down to David as the battle begins.
Your point, with semifinal 2 of the men's youth double, we will figure out the other 3 boats that will make the grand final tomorrow. Your leader, lane 4, Miami Beach. They were your second qualifier from the time trial, and they look pretty controlled. I have them at 35 strokes a minute. I had GMS at 33, so a little bit higher than GMS was in the last heat, but they are really in control. They have a full length over another just tremendous battle for second and third, which we have seen in almost all of these sculling races this morning. I'm going to give it to the boat in lane 5 from Shenandoah. Shenandoah has a couple of feet on the boat from lane 3, which was your 4th qualifier, White Rock, up there in a white boat with really bright blue blades coming through 750. And then there's open water back to another tremendous race for 4th and 5th place, which is lane 1, the gentleman from Amadeus Academy, and then in lane 2 with their very distinctive blade, Saratoga. They are stroke for stroke. But up front again, you actually now have open water. Looks like they're rowing a white Felipe, are the gentlemen from Miami Beach. Miami Beach rowing out of the Ronald Shane Water Sports Center on Miami Beach. They have about a seat of open water, enough breathing room here that they may just try to sit on this all the way down the race course and see what happens behind them. It's still very, very close between Shenandoah in lane 5 and the gentleman in lane 3 from White Rock. Shenandoah still has the advantage as we come through 1,000. That advantage is about a deck now. It actually swelled just a little bit there of a couple of strokes, so I think Shenandoah maybe made a slight move. They want a little bit more breathing room to be in one of the middle lanes tomorrow to finish second place in this semifinal. But going right with them and really not letting off the gas is White Rock. They're actually responding right now, and it again is now only about a 3-foot advantage for Shenandoah for second place over White Rock up there in lane 3 in third place. Behind them, it is more than a length of open water back to that stroke for stroke battle between Amadeus and Saratoga in lanes 1 and 2. They can feel each other. It's tremendous to watch these races and see so many boats with such similar speed. And those 2 boats are literally stroke for stroke, same exact speed as one another for 4th and 5th place. As we come through the red buoy line at 1250 with your leader, it continues to be Miami Beach. Shenandoah with a little bit more breathing room here in lane 5 for second place. It's about a half a length advantage now on the gentleman in lane 3 from White Rock. Excuse me, I've been calling this race off the wrong sheet. GMS up there is the boat in lane 3, and they are in third place. The boat in front of me is Shenandoah, so I keep calling them White Rock. It's actually GMS. So out in front is Miami Beach, Shenandoah trying to hold off GMS. So we actually saw a GMS boat in the first semifinal that I think made it through to the grand final, and it looks like they're going to have 2 boats in the grand final as GMS. Pretty amazing for one team to get 2 boats in a grand final at Youth Nationals. Let me give it to you at the finish line. It is Miami Beach out in front of Shenandoah and GMS.
GMS with a big move at the beginning and leading this race, Miami Beach, a big move in the beginning and leading this race. GMS giving a run for Shenandoah. I think we have decided up here in the tower to do it since it's spelled with a little extra E in there, I believe. But in the lead right now, Miami Beach in this second semifinal for the men's doubles. Shenandoah is pursuing, and GMS giving them a run for the money. In the meantime, a big battle shaping up on the far side of the course between the Amadeus Academy and Saratoga, as they have been battling for that 4th spot, and Maritime trying to stick with the pack as well as they head towards those red buoys indicating 250 meters to go, Matt.
Miami Beach is really the class of the field right now. They are rowing long and smooth. They have open water. They have the confidence. They've been in this position before. They've been in this spot pretty much all year long. So I think seeing the GMS behind them and Shenandoah over the the sides. They're going to be able to cruise in. They're into the red buoys, marking 250 meters to go. 1, 2, 3 positions, I want to say, are locked up, but as we saw in the previous race, it's not over till it's over.
Saratoga appears to have taken over fourth. Well, no, actually, I think it might be Maritime who has moved up into fourth, but we'll have to see as they come down. It is definitely Saratoga ahead of Amadeus Academy, but Miami looking good. Miami Beach looking good as they come down. Shenandoah sticking right on their stern, and GMS hanging right there in third for the 3 qualifying spots for the A final.
Absolutely. Miami Beach is just starting to creep up to the finish line with Shenandoah with overlap now. Miami Beach again bow to stern on them.
And it is Miami Beach, about 3/4 of a boat length over Shenandoah, and GMS in third. Meantime, fourth, a big surge from Saratoga. They come in fourth. Maritime coming from a little bit back to carry fifth, and it's Amadeus Academy in sixth for the second semifinal for the men's double. In the meantime, another race on the course. It's the ladies double. The ladies two.
Ladies pair.
Ladies pair. I'm sorry. Pointing at me distracted me here. I'm not sure where I'm going.
Semifinal number 1 is going to be lane 1, Row America Rye. Lane 2, Port. Lane 3, White Rock. Lane 4 is going to be Connecticut. Lane 5, Westerville. And lane 6, Parati. I'm going to have to give a pretty strong endorsement to the crew in lane 4 as the strong favorites. They won their time trial by nearly 20 seconds. And with the ERG scores that I'm reportedly hearing, for all of you college coaches out there, if you haven't already recruited them, they are going to be very impressive. Not to take away anything again with Westerville, White Rock, Port, Row America Rye, and Parati plan to chase them down.
The first pair semifinal underway. And it does appear that Connecticut is out to an early lead, actually an open water early lead over the rest of the pack. And this pair, rowing a pair, seems to be quite a challenge, Matt. Talk about the technique needed to have 2 rowers with just 1 oar apiece.
Absolutely. So you're in the smallest sweep boat category, meaning that you not only have to control what you're doing as an athlete, you have to match your pair partner almost perfectly. The imbalances that you're creating, leaning away from the boat, leaning, and the sweeping, as it were, you're having different hands propelling the boat in different ways. It's easier when you are sculling with 2 oars because you just have to balance yourself out. Now you and your teammate have to become one perfect unit.
A early, huge lead for Connecticut in the first 500 meters. Westerville and White Rock right behind. Westerville, I think, in second right now with White Rock in third. So we'll go to David to see how things are going early in this first semifinal for the women's pair.
19-second win in a time trial because they have 4 boat lengths of open water separating them and the boats that are vying for second and third place. In second place, in lane 3, it is the ladies from White Rock. They finished 4th in the time trial, and their advantage is a couple of feet over the ladies in lane 5 from Westerville. Westerville with a full length on another good race within the race between lanes 2 and 6, Port in lane 2 and Parati in lane 6. So it is bunched up relatively close, really anyone within striking distance, certainly this early in the race, as your leader comes through 750 Connecticut Boat Club, but behind them, it's only a couple of boat lengths, 3-4 boat lengths separating all of the boats. Your second place boat coming through 750 is that boat from White Rock. They're rowing in a white boat with bright green blades. They have a full length on the boat in lane 5 from Westerville. Westerville has a full length on the boat in lane 2 from Port, and Port has a couple of feet on the boat from in lane 6 right in front of us from Parati. So again, anyone with a big move here through the middle half could get themselves in a qualifying position, but nobody's going to catch Connecticut Boat Club, I don't think, barring some sort of major mistake from those ladies. And they are almost at the 1,000-meter mark. Their advantage is 6 or 7 boat lengths of open water back to second place boat in lane 3 from White Rock. White Rock now has a full length, maybe a foot of open water on the third place boat from Westerville in lane 5. So it's starting to space out just a bit, but like I said, you start to find some speed here in the third 500. Any of these boats behind Connecticut could try to put themselves in a qualifying position for the grand final. These ladies from Connecticut up front in a black boat, they are not really letting off the gas, but their rating is relatively low. It's only about 35 strokes a minute. They probably could go much lower if they wanted to, but I think these ladies want to get another good race under their belt down the race course before the grand final tomorrow. And they are rowing, like I said, black boat, white blades. The bow lady has a bright green visor. The tops of their unisuits have some green and white. The bottoms are black, and they just continue to push away from the field. 50 meters ahead of the field is Connecticut Boat Club. Still in second place is the boat from White Rock in lane 3. White Rock now with about 3 feet of open water back to Westerville. Westerville in lane 5 in a white boat. Their blades are black and navy blue or black checkered, and they have a full length on still a very close race behind them for 4th and 5th place. And starting to move up now as we hit 1250 is the boat in lane 2. That boat in lane 2 from port has a good overlap now with Westerville. We'll see what happens. Westerville looks like the boats around them are starting to move a little bit. The boat in lane 6 is also moving from Parati, so it could be very close as we hit the finish line with these 3 boats vying for one spot in the grand final behind Connecticut Boat Club and White Rock. As Connecticut Boat Club approaches that red buoy line at 500 to go, we're going to give it to you at the finish line. They are 70 meters ahead of the rest of the field as Connecticut Boat Club. In second place is White Rock, half a length of open water back to Westerville, trying to hang on, getting a big push from port and the boat from Parati.
The boat from Connecticut trying to repeat. They were the 2016 Youth National Champions in this event, the women's pair. Right now, it looks like Julia Canaccia and Caitlin Canast are going to at least have a chance to repeat for that title. The 1, 2, 3 at this point. Connecticut in lane 4 and first. White Rock pursuing in lane 3 in second place right now. Westerville having some steering issues, it looks like, at least from my angle, steering a little bit towards the Parati boat in lane 6. Quite a fight shaping up for that second and third place. In the meantime, not to be discounted, the boat from port in lane 2 hanging with that pack, and it's just the Row America Rye boat that seems slightly off the pace and out of the group. But Connecticut dominating. I was timing as it went over the 1,000-meter mark. They had almost a 10-second advantage over the field, crossing the halfway point, and continue to look strong and confident.
Right now, the real battle is behind them. White Rock seems securely in second position, but at this point, it's anybody's ball game. Parati seems to be the fastest moving. Westerville is trying to fight them off, not only in terms of staying ahead of bow ball, but trying to stay in their lane. Parati, this is a very hard boat to steer because everybody's trying to pull as hard as they can, trying to match their pair partner. Right now, Westerville seems to still have a slight lead over Parati, but from this angle, again, it can be anybody's race. We're into the red buoys with 250 meters to go. It looks like Westerville is holding on to a slight lead. Parati is coming full steam at them.
And they're running up on that boat from White Rock, too, as they come towards the finish line. And not to be discounted, that boat from port moving fast over there in lane 2 as well.
Absolutely. So Connecticut crosses the line with a sizable margin out in the lead. White Rock, currently in second position, seem to have second place locked in. It's between Parati and Westerville. Parati and Westerville by half a length at least, minimum. A slight slip of the stroke by Westerville means Parati's going to move up just a hair on them, but it's going to look like White Rock crosses second, and from here, Westerville holds on to third. Parati less than a half a deck behind.
Port coming across in fourth, and here comes the boat from Row America Rye for the 6th place. But boy, a dominating performance from the boat from Connecticut, and what a battle there at the end between Westerville and Parati. I could really see, Matt, as they were fighting in the final strokes. That sometimes that adrenaline can get away. You can lose your balance, and then that steering goes off.
Absolutely. Everybody's scrambling to do the best that they can individually, but then they have to make sure that their pair partner is their equal and their teammate.
We'll see how the second semifinal works out. Right now, it's underway. In lane 1, it's Indianapolis. Lane 2, Brookline. Lane 3, Vashon Island. Lane 4, Artemis. Lane 5, HPG. And lane 6, Vashon Island. Yes, 2 Vashon Island boats in this race. Right now, with an open water lead, it is the boat from Artemis that is out in front. And the remaining boats in this second semifinal for the women's pair almost equal right across. It's just the second boat from Vashon Island in lane 6 that's about a half a boat length off the pack. The rest of the pack all within about half a boat length of each other.
Absolutely. Artemis is clearly out in front right now. They're having a really nice row. And then High Point Greensboro there over in lane 5. They're a very young program. This is their first attendance at a youth national championship. Their coach has really done a nice job of developing not only a culture of rowing in North Carolina, but getting these crews to a championship race.
And here's David with the call.
Amongst the pack behind Artemis. So Artemis out in front, really in the driver's seat with a bunch of water separating them and the rest of the field. I think second place is a boat in lane 3 from Vashon Island. They were the third place qualifier. Vashon Island outside of Seattle. White boat, bright blue blades. They have about a half a length on the boat in lane 5 from HPG. HPG with about a deck over the boat in lane, two boats in lane 6 and 1. The boat in lane 6 is another boat from Vashon Island, so they have 2 in this semifinal. And in lane 1 we have Indianapolis, the last site of the World Championships in America. We obviously are going to have the 2017 World Championships on this very lake this year in September. Out in front continues to be the boat from Artemis. Artemis, 2 boat lengths of open water back to still in second place, the boat in lane 3 from Vashon Island. Vashon Island with about 3/4 of a length over the boat in lane 5 that is getting a big challenge. So HPG in lane 5 is getting a big challenge from the other Vashon Island boat in lane 6. And in fact, when they're in the water, they are in the lead is Vashon Island in lane 6 for third place, which would put 2 Vashon Island boats in the grand final were they to pull off that third place spot. But it's lanes 5 and 6 are back and forth for third place. HPG just took it back right there. They now have almost a deck again on Vashon Island's B entry in lane 6. Lane 1 still connected with those 2 boats vying for third place. That is a boat up there from Indianapolis, and then connected with Indianapolis, but off the back just a little bit, is a boat from Brookline High School in lane 2. Out front, still 2 boat lengths of open water, just sitting on that amount of advantage is this boat that is trying to go start to finish from Artemis in lane 4. Behind them continues to be a solid second place, which is the boat in lane 3 from Vashon Island, and trying to hang on to third place, but this is going to be a really good race all the way to the line for that third spot in this grand final tomorrow in the women's pair between lane 5, the ladies from HPG, and in lane 6, the other boat from Vashon Island. Still in the mix and not really allowing these boats to lose touch is that boat up in lane 1 from Indianapolis. It's a white boat and the top decks of the boat are red. Coming through 1250 is your leader, and it's actually gotten closer up front. So I'm wondering, it looks to me like these boats behind that are really having to race each other are kind of pacing themselves into that boat out front that got the lead early, Artemis, but it's only about 3/4 of a boat length of open water now. It was 2 boat lengths, maybe 2.5 boat lengths at its peak. It's only about three-quarters of a boat length of open water back to continued second place, which is a boat in lane 3 that looks very strong from Vashon Island. And now lane 5 has started to drop everybody behind them. They really want to come through the 1,500 meter point with a solid third place and try to hang on all the way to the line to get into the grand final. That is the boat from HPG in lane 5. I'm going to give it to you guys at the finish line. It is actually much closer up front. It's only about a seat of open water now for a little bit of a fading Artemis crew in lane 4. They still have the lead. They still have some open water. Second place continues to be Vashon Island in lane 3, and third place is HPG in lane 5.
Their lead diminishing, but it is still that boat from Artemis in the lead right now. Second place, the Vashon Island boat with Rhea Enzian and Gwyneth Lynch in lane 3. And the third place boat from High Point Greensboro in lane 5 and third. But the race is tightening up inside of 500 meters to go in the second semifinal for the women's pair. The men's pair semifinals coming up after that, then a short break before the C and D finals begin. They are pacing themselves in, and as we've seen on a number of occasions already this morning, Matt, it's not over till it's over.
Absolutely. Especially, this is nice to see that with the flat water, these crews are getting a real opportunity to show their skill. It's going to come down to these last 250 meters, as it looks like Artemis is coming into the red buoys. Vashon Island in lane 3 is holding on into second position, and High Point Greensboro appears to have had a really strong third 500 with their horsepower. Over there in lane, it looks like in lane 2 we had a little bit of a bobble from Brookline, but it looks like Indianapolis is going to try and make up some ground and catch up with High Point Greensboro. They're going to have to look over all the way to the far shore to see if Indianapolis is making up ground. Artemis is starting to be overtaken by Vashon Island,
Indeed.
But it is late enough in the race that it seems like they have put in the work.
Artemis continuing to lead in the second semifinal for the women's pair. And they have about 3/4 of a boat length lead over Vashon Island. Vashon Island in lane 3 beginning to pull hard. They just picked up their pace big time, Matt, and they're beginning to make up some ground on Artemis. Artemis looks like they're flagging a little bit. In the meantime, Indianapolis moving forward on the other boat, the High Point Greensboro boat.
Steering is becoming an issue between Artemis and Vashon Island in lane 3. While they're not only gaining ground, it looks like they're about to come into each other. High Point is veering over as well, but in the process, they are starting to make up ground.
Artemis is losing ground to Vashon Island. Vashon Island with a big push at the end, but it's still at the line. It looks like it's Artemis by just about a deck length over the Vashon Island boat. And High Point Greensboro recovering from a little bit of a bobble near the end. They're crossing in third, just ahead of the boat from Indianapolis. A nice showing there. And the other Vashon Island boat evidently had some trouble right at the end and had to reconnect. And they will end up in 6th with the boat from Brookline coming up in 5th. So going to the A final in the women's pairs out of this heat, Artemis, Vashon Island, and High Point Greensboro.
Always a lot of excitement in the pairs, a lot of energy, a lot of excitement, a lot of nervousness going into that racing. And then when it comes down to the last 100 meters, when you want to try and empty the tank, again, you never know what your pair partner might have left in his or hers.
And in each of these pair races, it has been right there in the, I'd say, the last 50 meters, really, that some of the boats have begun to fall apart and some disappointment showing on the rowers' faces as well. It has to be after all that work through 1,500 meters to lose it in the last few. We'll see how the men do. The men's pair semifinal number 1 is up next. Lakeside in lane 1, Gainesville area in lane 2, Commencement Bay in lane 3, Newport in lane 4, Marina Aquatic Center in lane 5, and Three Rivers in lane 6. An early lead for Newport right now. They're in lane 4, the fastest qualifier for this semifinal. The rest of the boats straight across, and already a little bit of steering issues for Commencement Bay right near the start, beginning to steer into the boat from Newport. They've straightened themselves out now, but that little slip has allowed the boat from Marina Aquatic Center to recover and take over second. And in the meantime, I guess Newport, feeling that pressure from the Commencement Bay boat, may have slacked off just slightly and have lost a little ground to the Marina Aquatic Center as well.
Newport Aquatic Center appears to have quite a bit of horsepower from top to bottom, and the men's pair here is leading the pack.
Down to David.
With the red and blue blades. In third place is a boat in lane 3 from Commencement Bay. They were actually your 4th place qualifier in the time trial, and they have a full length on the 4th place boat in lane 6 from Three Rivers in Pittsburgh. Connected with Three Rivers are the boats in lanes 1 and 2. The boat in lane 2 is from Gainesville Area Rowing in Gainesville, Florida. They have a half a length on the boat all the way at the top of the race course from Lakeside. As we come through 750, it's more of an advantage now for Newport Aquatic Center. They're rowing in a white Hudson that says NAC on the side, and they're starting to really kind of push away from the rest of the field. You can see their rowing is relatively distinct in that they really let the boat move when they're done with the stroke, and they have a nice recovery that lets the boat glide and try to maintain its speed before they get back up to take another stroke. They have 3/4 of a length now on a great battle going on as the boat in lane 3 from Commencement Bay has pulled up a little bit, and they are very close now to Marina Aquatic Center in lane 5. So those 3 boats are in a pack. The Marina boat does have a slight connection with Newport Aquatic Center, and Marina has maybe a 2-foot advantage over Commencement Bay. Those 3 boats, as we come through 1,000, are in this pack up here, and then behind them, it looks like Gainesville has actually now taken over 4th place, but it's 2 boat lengths of open water at 1,000, separating now 3rd place Marina, as Commencement Bay has now taken 2nd place from them with a big move at the 1,000-meter mark. These 3 boats up front that we're taking a look at that would be in the 3 qualifying positions have 2 boat lengths of open water back to 4th place Gainesville in lane 2. So up front, the boat that seems to be moving is the boat from Commencement Bay. They're in lane 3, and the bow ball of the Commencement Bay boat is right on the hands of the stroke man in the Newport boat when he takes his stroke at the catch. So it's starting to inch up a little bit, but these gentlemen from Newport trying to go start to finish, and like I said, they were the top qualifier from the time trial, so there's a lot of speed in that boat, and that really they just got to hang on to what they're doing here, not make any mistakes down the race course, and try to put their bow across the finish line to put themselves in lane 3 or 4 for the grand final tomorrow. It is 3/4 of a length advantage for Newport over Commencement Bay. Commencement Bay up there still trying to push, trying to get into Newport. Newport countering, but Commencement Bay has pulled away a little bit from Marina in lane 5. Marina now is a full length behind Commencement Bay for 3rd place, but Marina in a very solid position. Couple boat lengths of open water separating them and the 4th place boat, so they're in a solid qualifying spot in lane 5 in 3rd place. As we approach 500 to go, trying to go start to finish, like I said, trying to put themselves in that grand final is Newport. Newport 3/4 of a length advantage. They cannot quite drop and get an overlap drop on Commencement Bay, but Commencement Bay does have open water back to Marina in 3rd. I'll give it to you.
Commencement Bay overcoming a little bit of a slip at the start. They were veering a bit off course, but they've obviously recovered, and they are the boat on the move in this race, Matt.
Absolutely. Newport Aquatic. Newport seems to be out there. I wouldn't say this is an easy row right now. They're certainly having to put a lot of energy in to make sure that they stay in there. They're doing a little bit of steering right now. Commencement Bay is working their way up on them. But again, these lead 3 crews are just staying ahead far enough of Gainesville. I got to say, I've watched Gainesville throughout this year. They are a really scrappy, really high rating, powerful, fun group to watch. So I would not count them out until the very last stroke. And it looks like now, as we're getting to the last 500, Gainesville has gone up in rate and are trying to make the move. They're trying to move back into Marina Aquatic Center.
And Marina Aquatic Center having some steering issues. They're steering towards the buoy line in lane 6, between their boat and lane 6. And in the meantime, 3 Rivers seems to be having some difficulty, as does Lakeside on the far side of the course. But up front, Commencement Bay walking up on Newport.
Yeah, Commencement Bay, but taking really nice, long, accurate strokes. Newport doesn't seem like they want to respond. They're happy to make sure that they just get into a qualifying position. But here comes Gainesville. Gainesville is throwing everything they have at it to try and get back onto terms with Marina.
And Marina Aquatic Center, I think they know they have to keep their head in the boat to make sure that they keep it together through the finish line. You can lose it at the end, but in there, here goes Commencement Bay past Newport. Newport trying to catch up and now applying the power, but it is Commencement Bay with about a deck length of a lead as they come to the finish line. And here comes, again, Marina Aquatic Center seeing that challenge from Gainesville, trying to pour it on, but Matt, they're coming down to the line here. And boy, at the end, big push from Commencement Bay. It's there in first, Newport in second, but it is Marina Aquatic Center holding on for third, despite that big push from Gainesville, who end up in 4th.
3 Rivers will come across in 5th, with Lakeside coming across in 6th. But what a great race, not only for 1st and 2nd, but for 2nd and 3rd, 3rd and 4th. That was a really nice battle in multiple sections of the race course.
And very revealing when it comes to the strategy. I would suspect the folks in Gainesville are like, why didn't we start just a few meters early? We could have caught them up. But you never know, Matt. You never know.
Hindsight is 20/20, and in a sport where you're going backwards, you don't always know what the other crew is doing.
This is the 2017 U.S. Rowing Youth National Championships, live from Nathan Benderson Park in Sarasota, Florida. I'm Mark Brazell with Matt Buffelman and David Wyant. Glad to have you along on the web and here on the beach at Nathan Benderson Park. Last semifinal of the, not the last semifinal. We still have a few more. Last of the sweeping semifinals for the morning. We'll go to the quads here after the second of the men's pair semifinals. In lane 1, Norwalk River. Lane 2, Olympia area. Lane 3, Atomic. Lane 4, Row America Rye. Lane 5, Capital. And lane 6, PNRA Mercer in this second semifinal, waiting for the start for this pair, clash of the pairs. A reminder that the shuttle has begun to run between this shore and the opposite shore with the Ultra Bar over there. And a reminder that Siesta Key Bike and Kayak welcomes all the great rowing teams participating, and they're proud to provide bike rentals hourly, daily, and till Sunday to all participants. That's Siesta Key Bike and Kayak. Another thank you to all the great volunteers that are helping make this regatta run smoothly. Couldn't do it without you. Thank you for your time and energy. And a big thank you to all the U.S. Rowing referees working hard morning, noon, and night to keep the competition on an even keel and safe. Thank you to our U.S. Rowing referees. In the meantime, I see some oars flashing. I do believe the second of the semifinals for the the men's pair is underway again. In lane 1, Norwalk River. Lane 2, Olympia area. Lane 3, Atomic. Lane 4, Row America Rye. Lane 5, Capital. And lane 6, PNRA Mercer.
The seeded lane, again, is going to be lane 4 based on the time trials, but from all the previous races that we've been watching, it's not going to be anybody's easy row down the course. Again, it looks like in lane 2, an early shootout by Olympia area might have their nose out in front by about a half a length. Row America Rye in lane 4, again, holding true to that seeding, trying to get their nose out in front.
Atomic, the boat in lane 3, which is a second seed for the semifinal, is off to a little bit of a slow start. But again, they still have a good 1,500 meters to go. So fast start, though, for Olympia area early on in the lead. And now it is Row America Rye pulling into second. I can see their bow looking over to the right to check on the competition. All the 5 of the boats in contact with each other, all within a couple of boat lengths. It's only the PNRA Mercer that's slightly off the pace right now. But out front for an early start, it is the Olympia area boat with now Atomic and Row America Rye moving on. Sticking with them, though, is the boat from Atomic and Capital. So moving across, we can see the Olympia area in the lead by half a boat length, with Norwalk River right there not far behind, and Row America Rye as well, with Atomic and Capital trying to hang in there. It's just the PNRA Mercer boat that is not quite with the group right now. Let's get a closer look with David Wyant up in the chase car.
The boat in lane 2 from Olympia area rowing, and then you've got a dead heat between Row America Rye in lane 4 and the boat all the way up in lane 1 from Norwalk River. So those 3 boats are the ones that are in qualifying positions as we speak. Then it is a full length back to this back and forth stroke for stroke race between Capital in lane 5 and Atomic from Oak Ridge in lane 3. Coming through 750 with your leader, here comes Row America Rye. They're starting to move up just a little bit. They've taken a solid second place. It was stroke for stroke with that boat from lane 1, Norwalk River there for about 200 meters, but now it's a solid second place, and starting to move up on that boat in lane 2 from Olympia area is the boat in lane 4 from Row America Rye. Row America Rye boat is a black boat, red, white, and blue blades. And in front of them, that boat from Olympia area is a white boat up there in lane 2, primarily white blades. Looks like a maroon triangle on the end of those blades. And then look at this race going on for third place. 3 boats separated by about 2 feet. It's a boat in lane 1 from Norwalk River. It's the boat in lane 3 from Oak Ridge in their Atomic Atomic Blades and Atomic Unisuits coming through 1,000, they may actually now have third place by a couple of feet over the boat in lane 5 from Capital and the aforementioned boat in lane 1 from Norwalk River. So it's very close. It's a couple of feet separating those three boats. Atomic wants that third place spot, and they have taken it right now. So it may be another one of these relatively conservative, go down the race course at the same speed the whole way plans from the gentleman from Oak Ridge in lane 3. Being your third qualifier from the time trial, they certainly have speed, but they're sitting in third place right now. Your new leader up front is Row America Rye. They had a much quicker second 500 meters than the boat from Olympia area that had been in front the whole way. And Olympia area is starting to fade just a little bit as we hit 1250. Here comes all three crews behind them. That crew in third place from Atomic now has an overlap with Olympia area up there in lane 2. We'll see if Olympia area can hang on, but they're still sitting in second place. They still have 3/4 of a boat length over Atomic. Your fourth place boat is a boat right in front of us from Capital in lane 5. Capital in a white Hudson is a half a length down on the gentleman from Atomic in lane 3. So it's spaced out just a little bit, but you've got 2 boat lengths separating 4 boats behind the Row America Rye boat that is now rowing away with this second semifinal just a little bit. I'm going to give it to you at the finish line. It's Row America Rye out in front, and a big move from Capital here, as well as the boat from Olympia area. They are now in second and third, and Atomic has dropped back. I'll give it to you at the finish line. A lot of movement here. Great second semifinal of the men's pair.
A true fight going on there. You know, Row America Rye, even though the fastest qualifier for the semifinal, Matt, I think they're sticking to their game plan. Slow and steady sometimes wins the race.
A little bit of a conservative first 1,000, but behind them, Capital has put in a huge move, and it's looking like they have moved into possibly second position. Olympia area and Atomic are going to have to duke it out. Right now, it does seem like Capital is making up the most ground. Capital, Atomic, Olympia area. There are 3 crews. There are only 2 spots behind Row America Rye. Row America Rye has about a half a length of open water, maybe a little more. They are in a confident leading position. Behind them, everybody else, we're going to come into the red buoys, and it's exactly as we predicted. It's going to come down to it.
And it is a big move from Capital, though there are some steering issues. We can see from our perspective on the tower how they began to drift towards that Row America Rye lane. But it is right now Row America in control with a fight shaping up between Atomic and Capital.
Yeah, Olympia area rowing, it looks like they had some steering issues, went off course a little bit. That allowed Capital not only to get into second, but Atomic appears into third position. They're also having trouble staying in their lane as they go up in rate, but luckily there is room over there as Row America Rye currently has first position.
Second semifinal for the men's pair. Row America Rye in the lead with open water, but it's going to be a fight for that second spot because we have 3 boats that are nearly bow ball to bow ball coming down to it. It's Capital, Atomic, and Olympia area duking it out. Olympia area with a slight advantage, but here comes Capital. Capital moving fast too. Row America Rye just watching it come by as they come to the finish line. They're there, and as they come to the line, I can't tell whether it's Olympia area or Capital, but Atomic's in the mix too. They're going to have to do a photo finish on that one, I think, Matt.
Absolutely. It was clear that Row America Rye crossed first. From my vantage point, it looked like Capital and Olympia area rowing may have gotten second and third, with Atomic possibly missing out. But again, nothing official from up here until the referees announce it.
And Norwalk River and PNRA Mercer crossing the line in the second semifinal for the men's pairs here at the 2017 USRowing Youth National Championships. Glad to have you along. Live stream coverage available on the USRowing YouTube channel. We will be here for the finals this afternoon. After the semifinals this morning, there will be a slight break before the C and D finals of this regatta. About a half-hour break before we continue for the rest, up until, I think, lunchtime, and then there's a bit of a break. But we will continue the coverage tomorrow with the big championship races going for the gold in the A finals here at the 2017 USRowing Youth National Championships. Remember, students, stop by the Captain U tent at lunch today, 12:30 to 1:30, or tomorrow, Sunday, 11 11:30 to 12:30 to learn about the process for rowing in college. Athletes and parents should stop by the U.S. Rowing area and look for the Captain U tent, the new partners with U.S. Rowing. On to the next semifinal. It's the women's quads. Back to the sculling aspect of our sport. In lane 1 for the first semifinal in the quads, the women's quads, it's Sarasota, lane 2, Long Beach Juniors, lane 3, Saratoga, lane 4, Narragansett, lane 5, California Yacht, and lane 6, Row America Rye. Out to an early lead, the fastest qualifier in this semifinal. Narragansett, they're just out of the 250-meter breakage zone. Look at that, Matt. Right across, almost bow ball to bow ball, with the exception of one.
That is fantastic. No, not only did Narragansett jump out, but this is going to turn into a great race all the way down the course. We are still early. This is great to see contact this far, making sure that anybody has a chance to get into the A final.
Well, look at it. It is Narragansett with an early lead, a fight for second right now. I might give it to Saratoga, but we'll have to see. California Yachts hanging right in there. Not to be left out, Row America Rye in lane 6, and also Sarasota in lane 1. It's only Long Beach Juniors that are slightly back. We'll see how David sees it up in the chase car.
Lane 4 over a very close race behind them. The boat in lane 3 from Saratoga, your 4th place qualifier in the time trial, has about a deck on the boat in lane 5. In 3rd place, that is from California Yacht Club. California Yacht with about a half a length over 2 boats, Sarasota Crew in lane 1 and the boat in lane 6 from Row America Rye. So very, very bunched up here. A lot of connection as we come through 750, with the exception of your leader out in front. It's Narragansett. They're rowing in a white boat, primarily white blades. They've got a couple of diagonal blue stripes on their blades, and they have half a length, almost 3/4 of a length open water to Saratoga. Saratoga also in a white boat in lane 3, very distinctive blades with a bunch of vertical stripes, black and white or navy blue and white. They have half a length on 3rd place boat in lane 5, rowing also in a white boat, primarily navy blue blades with a little bit of a half triangle there of white. That is the boat from California Yacht Club from Los Angeles. And behind California Yacht Club, connected with California Yacht Club, are 2 boats. Sarasota Crew in lane 1, blue boat, white blades, pink hats. And the boat right in front of us from Row America Rye, rowing in a white boat with white blades. So, through the halfway point, and your leaders are 10 strokes past halfway. It continues to be Narragansett. They are really in control here, trying to get a stroke rating on them, and the boat's moving very briskly, 32 strokes a minute, so really feeling good about their boat speed, relatively low rating, and they want to see if there's somebody from the other semifinal that's going to race them down the race course tomorrow in the grand final, because they've got a length and a half of open water to 2nd place Saratoga. Saratoga has opened up distance. They have 1 seat of open water to Saratoga for 2nd place over 3rd place California Yacht. And California Yacht is really getting pressed now by Row America Rye in lane 6. The bow ball of the Row America Rye boat right on the 3-lady in the California Yacht boat. So California Yacht's advantage for 3rd place, which would qualify them for the grand final, is only about a half a length. Sarasota Crew also hanging tough up there. They are a deck behind Row America Rye up there in lane 1, sitting in 5th place. Your 6th place boat is the boat from Long Beach Juniors, and they may have a slight connection here with the boats from Sarasota Crew in lane 1 and the boat in lane 6 from Row America Rye. But out in front, and I will give it to you at the finish line, really a clinical row here in the semifinal from Narragansett, really pushing away from the field, and they have 2 boat lengths of open water back to Saratoga. Saratoga 2 seats of open water back to California Yacht, who is still getting pressed here by Row America Rye. Should be a good row for the 3rd place spot that would put one of these boats in the grand final. Give it to you.
close together at the beginning and beginning to spread out as the race strategies take effect. Quite a row from Narragansett here, Matt. They're out there.
Yeah, they seem to be asserting their dominance on the field right now. Really nice strokes there, long arm hang, really driving the boat with their legs. Behind him is a nice battle that's going to dictate who gets into the A final. Saratoga solidly in second position, but over in the near lanes, it's looking like California Yacht Club and Row America Rye seem to be the two crews. They're going to be battling it out. Over on the far shore, don't count out Sarasota. Sarasota going to try and get back in with them. Row America Rye having a little bit of steering, trying to figure out which side of the lane might be a little bit faster. But right now, Narragansett knows that dead center of the lane gets you to the finish line first.
Narragansett running in first right now. Saratoga in second with, I would almost say, Row America Rye in third, but that little steering issue may have given them given a little ground back to California Yacht. And as you said, Matt, on the far side of the course, Sarasota, not to be discounted yet, but out front, Narragansett looking fine in this first semifinal for the women's quad.
Narragansett out in front with a 2-length open lead with Saratoga in second position. And it does look like Row America Rye has put in the work and has pulled ahead of California Yacht Club. It seems like their steering issues were only because they are going so fast right now.
Indeed. First place, Narragansett right now coming down to the wire, just 30 meters from the end. Slow and steady, very nice form for the boat from Narragansett as they cross the line in first, about 3 boat lengths ahead of their competitors. Saratoga trying to hold on as Row America Rye is coming on strong, and they are picking up some pace, but they feel it. Saratoga with a few power strokes at the end. They cross in second. Row America Rye in third. Must be disappointing for the California Yacht Club. They were in it for so long, but just at the end, Row America Rye gave them a run for their money. Sarasota crossing in fifth, and then it's Long Beach Juniors in sixth in the first semifinals for the quads. JL Racing, located in Vendor Village all weekend long. Come visit for great deals and designs. Until the end of the regatta, JL Racing. Congrats on making it so far this weekend, they say, and good luck. Second semifinal for the women's quads. Greater Dayton in lane 1, Oakland Strokes in lane 2, Seattle in lane 3, Y Quad Cities in lane 4, New Canaan in lane 5, and the second Saratoga boat qualifying for the semifinals in lane 6. And Matt, right here, lane 3, it looks like Seattle has a nice start. In lane 4, the Y Quad Cities looking good, but Seattle right there with them, and Saratoga's B boat right there in the mix as well.
Yeah, Saratoga B looks like they want to shoot out, get their nose out in front, and see what it's like to lead the field. But with a team that has the name of the event in their name, Y Quad Cities is dominating the quad, trying to get their back out in front for the lead that they think that they deserve.
And they are. They see that little bit of push from Saratoga, and they are pulling away now. It looks like they saw that and put a little extra into it, and they are now about 3 seats ahead of the second place boat from Seattle, with Saratoga B in third right now. David has a better view. Let's see what he has to say.
Suits primarily red on the top. Excuse me. They are trying to win this event for the 4th straight year. A rare 4-peat is what these ladies from Y Quad Cities are after. They are from Illinois, right across the river from Davenport, Iowa, the Mississippi River. They have a full length over second place, which is the boat up in lane 3 from Oakland Strokes. Oakland Strokes with maybe a foot on the boat right in front of us in lane 6 from Saratoga. That's Saratoga's B entry. We saw another Saratoga quad in the first semifinal. So Saratoga putting on really some... Seattle. Seattle is in lane 3. Oakland Strokes is in lane 2. So it's actually Seattle with a slight advantage for second place over Saratoga in lane 6. And then it's Oakland Strokes in 4th place. But it is very close here. These boats are moving briskly, but with the exception of Y Quad Cities really out in front, it is shaping up, barring some sort of big mistake down the race course, to be a battle tomorrow between Y Quad Cities and Narragansett. But Y Quad Cities with a full length of open water now back to Seattle. Seattle in lane 3 with a really a strong tradition, Seattle Rowing Center now, of doing well in these sculling events. They're in a dark gray boat with white blades. All the ladies are wearing orange visors. and you can see them throwing their backs into it quite a bit, really trying to get some speed as they press through the water. They have half a length now at 1,000 meters over third place Saratoga right in front of us in lane 6, trying to hang on to that third place spot. It looks like they are in a fluid design boat right in front of us, a beautiful white boat, and Saratoga has about a 3/4 length advantage, maybe only half a length advantage on Oakland Strokes up there in lane 2. Oakland Strokes in a white boat with orange and white blades really in the mix here. Your 5th place boat is a boat in lane 5 from New Canaan. And then your 6th place boat is a boat all the way at the top of the race course from Greater Dayton in lane 1, who is connected with both Oakland Strokes and New Canaan. So a lot of connection back here behind Y Quad Cities. Again, Y Quad Cities really running away with this one, and a tremendous show of how they row. The hands out very quickly from the bow when they finish the stroke. And it is just perfection, really, in terms of how they have been coached to row. All 4 of these ladies moving back and forth in perfect unison in the Y Quad Cities quad. They have 2 or 2.5 boat lengths of open water back to Seattle. Seattle now with a full length for 2nd place over 3rd place Saratoga B in lane 6. Saratoga B in lane 6 has almost and a crab from Saratoga in the stroke seat. She lost her right blade, and that just brought everybody back into contention for 3rd place. And she got it out very quickly, which is lucky. They only lost about a half a length, and they're back up to speed now. So we'll see if that affects Saratoga moving forward. But I'm going to give it to you at the finish line. It is Y Quad Cities just rowing away with this thing, 30 or 40 meters ahead of Seattle. Seattle with some open water back to Saratoga, who is back in that 3rd place position. And New Canaan is challenging them with Oakland dropping off the pace. Give it to you.
A crab by Saratoga, and then a crab by Oakland Strokes, throwing them off the pace. Again, part of the dedication and determination you need is also synchronization when it comes. And sometimes if you're just slightly off, your oar stays in the water while everybody else is pushing, and you catch a crab. Explain a crab, Matt.
Well, crab is when the blade is not properly oriented and perpendicular to the water, so it'll create an angle that a lot of times will catch the water. You got to imagine these boats are moving fast. If you try and throw something in the water, it's going to create a lot of drag. And with these blades, precision is key. If you throw it off by just a little bit, it can really throw a wrench in the gears.
They were all lined up pretty well, and just a crab by Saratoga, then one from Oakland Strokes has spread out the field a little bit. Y Quad Cities still determined to continue, and they are still in 1st place with the boat from Seattle right beside them
New
in
Canaan.
2nd place.
New Canaan has put in the work now, and they appear to be passing Saratoga. New Canaan is looking like they're going to be in a qualifying position. Seattle in 2nd. New Canaan is your new 3rd place, just trying to squeeze ahead of Saratoga B.
What a finish here in the 2nd of the semifinals for the women's quad. The men's quad just ahead. Y Quad Cities just keeping their heads in the boat as they head towards the finish. New Canaan with quite a charge right now. Saratoga beginning to pick it up too, and they're trying to take back that 3rd spot. Saratoga still belongs to Seattle.
Saratoga reacts, and it's bow ball to bow ball between Saratoga B and New Canaan.
Y Quad Cities crossing the line first, and it is Seattle in 2nd, but the battle is for 3rd right now, and it does look like New Canaan may I don't know. Saratoga came back at the end too.
Absolute bow ball to bow ball. We're going to have to check the tape on that one.
Then it's Greater Dayton crossing in 5th, and the boat from Oakland Strokes, after catching a crab, is ending up in 6th, and I know the athletes in that boat from Oakland Strokes must be disappointed, being in the thick of things, and then suddenly, with just a little slip of a blade, you get pushed just enough, and that's all it takes, Matt. It's just that fraction of a second to recover. That means that you could be put out of contention.
And you saw that fraction of a second. We're still going to have to wait to find out who is moving into the A final. Mark, you've done a lot of regattas. You've helped run. You've helped see these finishes. What sort of advantage is it to have this sort of a finish line tower to look down on such great racing?
Well, you know, I don't have the official line to see, but I can tell you that the perspective allows you to see all the way across all 6 lanes to really get the perspective as they come across, and it's invaluable when it comes down to a finish, like between those 2 boats when you are that close. And I've been at regattas where they stretched it out. They have finish line cameras they call finish links that take 3,000 frames a second, and they parse it out pixel by pixel, and I've seen it that there's 1 pixel apart. 1,000th of a second was the closest finish I had seen, and that was literally like a 1/4 inch of bow ball.
That's precision, that's accuracy that you've got to wonder during the race, did you actually give everything you had?
The first of the men's quad semifinals now on the course and off the lineup. Lane 1, Brophy. Lane 2, Ransom Everglades. Lane 3, New Canaan B. Lane 4, New Canaan. Lane 5, Malvern Preparatory School. Lane 6, Pelham CRA. And it's the Malvern Preparatory School out to an early start in this semifinal number 1.
This is no surprise. This entire field has a lot of history in the sculling between the New Canaan A and B, getting to see their teammates. I have a feeling they're going to know what to expect, but Malvern looks like they have something to prove, and Ransom Everglades, I know they really enjoy putting their foot down, showing the national stage what Florida sculling can be all about.
It's quite a battle shaping up here early on into the first 500 meters or so in this first semifinal. Next to last race of the morning before a break. Again, we will resume live streaming of the C and D finals after the break. The first of the C finals set to begin at 10:30 this morning. So for those of you keeping track and score at home, keep that in mind. Malvern Prep, though, out early, a boat length of lead over the boat right next to it, New Canaan. The New Canaan B boat is about 3/4 of a length back from the other New Canaan boat, but we'll see what David thinks as he is chasing it in the car on the wave attenuator.
New Canaan, and something that was just amazing that happened last year in this event was that New Canaan had the first and second place boats in this event, and they have 2 boats in this semifinal. They're A and B boats. The A boat's in lane 4. They were the top qualifier from the time trial. They're in a white boat with blue blades. And then the B boat is in lane 3 in yellow empaka with white blades. And they are sitting right now in about 5th or 6th place. So up front, it continues to be Malvern. You can tell what they look like coming down, especially if you have binoculars, because they have pink jerseys as they come through 750. Here comes New Canaan in lane 4. Again, your defending national champions. They are in a white Filippi boat that's made in Italy, and they are starting to move here. They're only down about a deck on Malvern. So Malvern, I had them at the start pretty high, and then I had them about 37 strokes a minute as they came through 500. They're starting to get reeled in a little bit now by New Canaan. Again, maybe one of these race plans where they're trying to kind of split it the same all the way down the race course, a nice even pace. And New Canaan is starting to push. They will actually have their bow ahead here probably by the 1,000-meter mark. In 3rd place is a boat all the way up in lane 1. It is a red boat from Brophy. Brophy, who I believe won the Southwest Regional in this event. They're in a red boat with white blades. And as they come through 1,000, they have only about a half a length on the New Canaan B boat in lane 3, who has about a deck then on 2 boats. The boat in lane 6 from Pelham CRA, and then the boat in lane 2 from Ransom Everglades School in Coconut Grove, Florida. That's a Scholastic high school. But up front, you have a new leader. It is New Canaan. As I said, they were just slowly inching their way past that boat from Malvern that had that huge start, and they now are in the lead. Your defending national champions from New Canaan really moving nicely in that boat. You can tell as they come up the recovery and get up there to drop in again that the boat's moving nicely under them. They're allowing the boat to move. It's not a big rush to get up the slide. Malvern closer to us in lane 5, starting to drop back just a little bit, but they still have some open water back to Brophy up there in lane 1. Brophy with almost a half a length on New Canaan B, and New Canaan B has dropped the other 2 boats pretty considerably. There's open water from New Canaan B sitting in 4th place back to the boat from Ransom Everglades in lane 2 and the boat in lane 6 from Pelham CRI. But the boat that's moving the most in relation to the others right now is New Canaan B in lane 3. They are almost even now with Brophy, and these two boats vying for that third spot in the grand final. New Canaan trying to back-to-back years put two boats in the grand final in this men's quad. 500 meters left. It's New Canaan A out in front of Malvern, New Canaan B, and Brophy.
We were noticing that New Canaan B had a very slow and steady start, and we'll see if they have something up their sleeve, Matt.
Mark, if I remember correctly, I think this was the podium finish last year, and Malvern trying to play the spoiler. Last year, I believe it was New Canaan Brophy bringing home hardware, and Malvern is up there trying to spoil it here. This is just a semifinal race with finalist caliber racing.
New Canaan in the lead right now. Malvern Prep after that fast start still hanging right in there. Third place does belong to New Canaan B, but New Canaan B getting pushed by Brophy right now. It is both Pelham and Ransom Everglades slightly off the pace, but we'll have to see what happens at the finish, because here is where the strategy does come into play. The New Canaan boat still looking strong, Malvern holding on there, but it looks like Brophy's begun to move up on the New Canaan B boat.
Absolutely. It's New Canaan A out in front, long, strong, and solid. Malvern has gone high and hard the entire way, and it is paying off. They're in second position, a qualifying spot. Right now, I'm going to give it to New Canaan B, has a slight edge on Brophy over there. They are bringing the rate up for their final sprint. It's going to be New Canaan A, Malvern, and then something between New Canaan B and Brophy.
New Canaan, big, full, strong strokes here as they cross the finish line. About a boat and a half of open water ahead of the boat from Malvern Prep. But Malvern Prep will be in there, and it does look like New Canaan B did come through, but they are a boat length back from Malvern Prep, and hopefully Malvern Prep will be okay. Though I do see the 3-seat in the Malvern Prep school kind of grabbing it back there. I hope he turns out okay. But and then it's Brophy crossing in fourth, and I think it was Ransom Everglades in fifth, and Pelham CRA in sixth. They will be going to the B final. One last semifinal, then a short 30-minute break before the C finals begin here at the 2017 U.S. Rowing Youth National Championships. A slight break, and then we'll go on, but we still have one more semifinal, the last race of the morning. In lane 1, Redwood Scullers Stanford Center. In lane 2, Conestoga. Lane 3, White Rock. Lane 4, GMS. Lane 5, Space Coast. And lane 6, Parati. That's the lineup for the semifinal number 2. Last semifinal of the morning. Last semifinal of the regatta. It's all finals from here on out. C and D finals today. A and B finals tomorrow. They're off in the final semi of the morning.
The two-seated lanes, lane 3 and 4, with White Rock and GMS having a better result in the time trial. Those should be your possible leaders, again, having had a best result so far. You will notice the social media guys from Parati rowing what they call Quadzilla in the red boat, going to be nearest to the shore.
Well, all these boats, nearly their Quadzilla, just about a half a boat length off, but they are moving this boat on down the course. I tell you what, early start. Looks like Space Coast looking out to prove something. They have about a 2-seed lead over the second place boat from GMS, which has about a 2-seed lead over the third place boat from White Rock, but they are all within a boat length of each other. It's Conestoga back just slightly. The Redwood Scullers right in the mix with those top 3, and they're sticking right with them. Quadzilla right on the stern of the boat next to him, Space Coast, which is in the lead.
Space Coast coach Ethan Shoemaker, I'm sure, has gotten his guys psyched up for this race in front of the Florida crowd. They really want to have a good representation here, get their way into the A final. They're going to have their hands full with GMS, a perennial sculling program. They're going to try and get back out and assert their dominance.
It is Space Coast and GMS going bow ball to bow ball for the moment. White Rock right there as well. And then it looks like the Redwood Scullers, Parati, and Conestoga in that order. So it is Space Coast going out to a fast start, but GMS reasserting their dominance, if you may, or showing why they had the top seed. But Space Coast really sticking to them. We'll see what David thinks.
In lane 3 from White Rock. White Rock was your third qualifier in the time trial. They have, like I said, about a foot on the boat in lane 6. Very red boat right in front of us from Parati. Red boat, red blades, red unisuits from the gentleman from north of Houston, Texas, from Parati. And actually, Parati, a little bit of a move there. And they now have about 2 feet on the boat from White Rock up there in lane 3. But out front at 750, it is about a 4-foot lead for the boat in lane 4, a white boat with bright blue blades of GMS. GMS actually continuing to move out. It looks like they're rowing in a boat that was rowed in the World Championships because it's got a decal on the side and a big old move that they made there at 750 to put themselves almost 3/4 of a length over second place Space Coast. Space Coast, with a lot of time on this race course, being a Florida crew, has about a half a length on the boat from Parati that's pretty hard charging here in lane 6 right in front of us. They are sitting in third place. Your fourth place boat is a boat from White Rock up there. Like I said, they were the third qualifier in the time trial, so they had a good time trial, and it looks to me like they're one of these boats that's going to try to split it the same all the way down the race course and maybe see if somebody's used too much energy in that last 500 where they can try to get into the rest of the boats ahead of them. But it's much closer in this semifinal as we come through 1,000. At 1,100 meters, it's GMS by a full length now over Space Coast, but here comes Parati. Parati only about 3 feet behind Space Coast. And also connected with both Space Coast and Parati is that boat from White Rock. Behind White Rock is some open water of about 3/4 of a length to the boat in lane 1 from Redwood Scullers. And Redwood Scullers has about a half a length on the boat in lane 2 from Conestoga. 1,200 meters in, GMS still out in front there in their white boat. But there is an overlap. Space Coast has not allowed GMS to get open water, and there is still an overlap between GMS and Space Coast of a couple of feet. And here comes Parati. Parati wants second place, and they are really moving hard trying to get it through the water, are the gentlemen from Parati, and they're a couple feet behind Space Coast. So Space Coast actually really dealing with the fact that Parati is showing some speed next to them very well. They're staying composed, and they're just rowing their race, continuing their speed, and they have about a 1-seat advantage on Parati for second place behind GMS. Fourth place continues to be White Rock up there in that white boat with green and dark blue blades. And we'll see if White Rock can get into these boats ahead of them that they're connected with 500 to go. I'm going to give it to you at the finish line. GMS out in front of both Space Coast, Parati, and then White Rock.
The battle's just beginning, it looks like, Matt. They really are going to battle it out in these last 500 meters. GMS with that top seed, making sure that they stay out in front. White Rock lurking, I would say. Space Coast and Parati in there as spoilers.
Yeah, it looks like G-Man has really gotten that GMS group up to snuff. They are about a length up. But again, Space Coast and Parati have been battling it out side by side, so they know what they're going to have to do for each other. White Rock, just on the other side of GMS, is going to try and have to get their nose back out in front of Parati. White Rock and Parati, I think, have a little bit of history having raced each other in the central region for most of the year. Space Coast has brought the rate up and is going to try and eat into GMS's lead.
And it looks like the Parati is hard charging right now. GMS there. Of course, White Rock wants to stay in it. I see there Bauman just glanced over his left shoulder, seeing what's going on and saying, hey, guys, we got some room to make up. But out front, it is GMS in the lead, but a hard charge coming on from Space Coast and Parati both. So coming down to the line with 50 meters to go, GMS in the lead in this final semifinal of the 2017 U.S. Rowing Youth National Championships. They have a 1-boat length advantage, but we'll have to see how it shakes out for second and third. White Rock, I don't know if they'll have enough room. Parati charging at the finish line. GMS at the line first. Here comes Parati, but it is going to be Space Coast in second, Parati in third, and White Rock in fourth.
Great racing all the way down the course. Overlap between the top 4 boats. Redwood just falling off full pace a little bit with Conestoga in 6th.
Great racing, but wait, there's more. The C&D Finals begin at 10:30. Live stream right here on the U.S. Rowing Channel on YouTube. Racing resumes with the C Finals at 10:30. We will be going off the air for just a short time and covering the C&D Finals this afternoon. Then tomorrow, the A Finals for the 2017 U.S. Rowing Youth National Championships begin at 8 a.m. Live streaming of those events as well as the B Finals tomorrow. We hope you'll be here, and we hope you'll be back in about 30 minutes to watch more great racing from Nathan Benderson Park in Sarasota, Florida. Welcome back to live streaming of the 2017 U.S. Rowing Youth National Championships. The Semifinals are underway. First race on the course, the Semifinals for the women's singles. In lane 1 is Heather Herbstritt from Briar Woods. Lane 2, Ellen McGill from SoCal Scullers. Lane 3 is Stella Marie Rose from Miami Beach. Lane 4, Rose Kelly from Litchfield Hills. Lane 5 is Catherine Molina from Niskayuna. And lane 6, Christina Mayer from Miami. An early lead from Catherine Molina in lane 5, being pursued closely by Rose Kelly. Over in lane 1, Heather Herbstritt looks like she is in third at the moment, with fourth belonging to Stella Marie Rose from Miami Beach. The Semifinals, one event at a time. The women's singles first, men's singles next, then the women's doubles, men's doubles, women's pair, men's pair, etc. as we go through the lunch break at about noon, a little after noon. But the Semifinals, the third of the finals, looking for the boats that would rank basically 13 through 18 in the nation here at the Youth National Championships. So out in the lead right now is Rose Kelly, having taken over from Catherine Molina, who had an early lead, but those are both those athletes very close together. Only about a 2-foot lead for Kelly at this time, just as they're hitting the 500-meter mark. The singles here, very challenging for scullers, but you learn a lot as you sit in that boat. As we mentioned a little bit earlier today, you do learn balance in the boat. You learn to keep your oars even and moving through the water, and it really is a discipline that helps you learn exactly how to balance the boat, and actually improves your rowing when you get into a boat with other rowers. So the single, very important. Or sometimes, as you get older, they'll say there's a reason you row by yourself, but we won't go into that right now. Meantime, Semifinal for the women's singles, with Rose Kelly out in the lead, Catherine Molina pursuing, and third place belonging to Stella Marie Rose right now. Halfway down this 2,000-meter course at Benderson Park here in Sarasota. Full boat length lead now from Rose Kelly, the fastest qualifier for the Semifinal. She's being pursued by Catherine Molina from Niskayuna. And then third place right now belonging to Stella Marie Rose from Miami Beach. Fourth place, hard to call, either Heather Herbstritt or Christina Mayer from Miami. They are fighting for fourth. And then in sixth at the moment is Ellen McGill from SoCal Scullers. But out in front and extending her lead right now is Rose Kelly from Litchfield Hills. Again, a reminder to stop by the Captain U tent if you're interested in learning more about the process for rowing in college. Athletes and parents should stop by the U.S. Rowing area, look for the Captain U tent to learn more about that process. Beginning to heat up. While the temperatures are going up, the chance for thunderstorms is going down, so keep your fingers crossed. Hopefully we'll get a full day of competition in here at the 2017 U.S. Rowing Youth National Championships. 12:50 into the race, a little open water lead now for Rose Kelly from Litchfield Hills, about 10 feet of open water, back to Catherine Molina from Niskayuna, then about a boat length of open water back to the third place boat, Stella Marie Rose. Meanwhile, in lane 6, coming up fast, Christina Mayer from Miami, and a duel for fifth between Heather Herbstritt and Ellen McGill right now.
What was it?
Catherine Molina from Niskayuna making a move on Rose Kelly, gaining some ground back in the C final for the women's singles. Hills as they come down to the end in the C finals here. You have to pace yourself just right. Catherine Molina beginning to move up. Rose Kelly glances to her left, sees Catherine Molina moving. Catherine Molina moving up and passing Rose Kelly here with just about 50 yards to go in the C final for the women's single. As they come to the line, a good showing from Niskayuna's Catherine Molina, who crosses the line first in the C final for the women's single. Rose Kelly from Litchfield Hills in second. And a fight for third coming on as Ellen McGill from the SoCal Scullers giving a run for the money to Stella Marie Rose. But Stella Marie Rose hangs on at the end for third. Then it's Ellen McGill, Christina Mayer from Miami finishes in fifth. And Heather Herbstritt from Briarwoods will be sixth in the C final. Meanwhile, back to the start for the men's C final. The men's single C final, it has Ronnie Cantrell from Skyline in lane 1, Charles Kuntz from Ridgewood in lane 2, Max Evans from the Amadeus Academy in lane 3, Jacob Sears from Indianapolis in lane 4, David Chapman from Parkersburg South in lane 5, Aaron Shaning from South Eugene in lane 6, and there are 7 boats in this race. In lane 7, Andrew Raber from River City. Early lead here from Parkersburg South's David Chapman. He has about a half a boat length lead over Charles Kuntz from Ridgewood. David Wyant in the chase car continues the call from the attenuator.
Lane 4, that's Jacob Sears from Indianapolis. He's in a black boat with white blades. So you have 5 gentlemen here at 750 that are all connected. This is as good of a race as we could possibly ask for in this C final of the men's single, and it's back and forth. Every once in a while somebody takes a couple hard strokes and pushes themselves up a little bit. A couple of the boats drop back. It is about 15 feet separating 5 boats here in the C final of the men's single. In lanes 6 and 7, these 2 gentlemen are battling it out as well. Right in front of us, Aaron Schoening from South Eugene in lane 6 has a slight advantage in his red boat over the gentleman in lane 7 from River City in Midlothian, Virginia, Andrew Raber. So this C final is going to determine places 13 through 19 in the country for youth rowing in the men's single. Very good rowing that we're seeing from these gentlemen. And wow, look at this race up front. 4 boats separated by a couple of feet as we come through the halfway point. It is too close to call between lanes 3 and 5. The gentleman, Mr. Evans from Amadeus in lane 3, and the gentleman in lane 5 from Parkersburg South, Mr. Chapman. They are just slightly, maybe a foot ahead of Jacob Sears in lane 4 from Indianapolis. And then also with them, only a half a length off the pace, is the gentleman in that yellow boat up there in lane 2, Charles Kuntz from Ridgewood in New Jersey. So all 4 of these boats connected at 11:50. Awesome race. The only one that dropped out from that 5-boat pack that we had is the gentleman in lane 1, Mr. Cantrell from Skyline. And he is trying to hold off the single sculler in lane 6 in the red boat from South Eugene, Mr. Schoening, for 5th and 6th. Now we've got a leader, and it is a clear leader. It's the gentleman in lane 3 in that red boat with white blades. His unisuit is white and blue. He's going to hit that red buoy line first at 12:50. It is Mr. Evans from Amadeus from Long Island, Oyster Bay. Second place, solid second place now, is the gentleman in lane 4, Jacob Sears from Indianapolis in his black boat with white blades. He has about a half a length on third place, which is the boat in lane 5, David Chapman from Parkersburg South, trying to hang on to third place over the gentleman up in lane 2 from Charles Kuntz, the gentleman rowing from Ridgewood, New Jersey. So I feel like there's going to be really some jockeying going on between these four boats in the last 500 meters. A couple of them are rowing pretty low with the stroke rating, so we'll see what kind of finishes they have in their last race of the spring season for 2017. It's a C final of the men's youth single. I'll give it to you at the finish line. Your leader is Max Evans, second place Jacob Sears, and in third place is David Chapman.
Determining the placing for these young athletes on the national scene, places 13 through 18. Right now, Max Evans from Amadeus Academy in the lead, but as David said, it can shake out in these last 500 meters. That's where a lot of the strategy comes into play. Beginning to spread out, a very tight race for most of the way down in the C final for the men's single. Max Evans in the lead right now, being pursued by Indianapolis's Jacob Sears, David Chapman from Parkersburg South, hanging right there as well. And great to see these programs for all over the nation, from Ohio, Indiana, from Connecticut, from Oregon and California, and the spots in between. Thank you all for being here and enjoying that southern hospitality here in Sarasota, Florida. Coming down, again with these singles, the only person you have to blame is yourself, and the only person you can depend on is yourself. Max Evans doing a fine job from Amadeus Academy right now, leading the C final, but it's Jacob Sears from Indianapolis beginning to press as they're coming down to the finish. They're pulling away from the third place boat of David Chapman from Parkersburg, but he's sticking right in there. Charles Coons from Ridgewood also still in the mix. Ronnie Cantrell, who had been racing well and beginning to follow the field there in lane one, but coming to the line, a big push from Jacob Sears from Indianapolis. 40 meters to go from the finish in the C final, the men's single. Jacob Sears stroking, trying to catch up with Max Evans from Amadeus Academy. They're right at the line, and as they cross the line, it is Max Evans by all of 2 feet over Jacob Sears from Indianapolis. That's 1-2 here in the C final. Third place belongs to Parkersburg South, David Chapman. In the meantime, it's Charles Coons from Ridgewood crossing in fourth. Arnold Schoening from South Eugene stroking towards the finish. He'll end up in fifth. It's Andrew Raber from River City crossing the line in sixth. And Ronnie Cantrell from Skyline rounding out the C final for the men's singles here at the 2017 U.S. Rowing Youth National Championships. In the meantime, the women's C final, the women's double C final on the course. Just 3 boats in the C final in the women's double. It's the boat from Fort Collins in lane 3, the Episcopal School of Dallas in lane 4, and Baltimore in lane 5. Beautiful shot from the drone. Thank you to Dean and Brent down at the 500. Thanks to Paul and Brian and David in the chase car. Matthew and Willie here at the finish line, bringing you great pictures on the Jumbotron. Al and friends keeping those Jumbotrons humming as well. It's the boat from Episcopal School of Dallas out in the lead at the moment. It's been quite a season of rowing and sculling for many of these great season of rowing and sculling for these young athletes, and what a culmination here in Sarasota. It's the C final for the women's doubles. Down to David for the call.
Double, and out front, full length of open water, is still the boat in lane 4 from Episcopal School of Dallas, Miss Harrington and Smith, and they have that length of open water on still second place, the boat in lane 3 from Fort Collins. Those ladies are rowing in a white boat with white blades. Their unisuits are blue, and then they have almost like a highlighter green vertical stripe on them, so you should be able to pick those up from far away. And the ladies from Fort Collins now have about a seat of open water to Baltimore in front of us in lane 5. So a little bit spaced out here in the C final of the women's double. These ladies up front in this boat from Episcopal School of Dallas are rowing at 33 strokes a minute. Their blades are a navy blue with, I think, a logo of their school in white, at least on the inside of the blades. And they're maintaining still this about a boat length, maybe just slightly less than a boat length of open water to the ladies from Fort Collins up there. Fort Collins boat is at 37 strokes a minute, so considerably higher than the boat that's out front from Episcopal School of Dallas. And that boat from Episcopal School of Dallas is coming through the red buoy line at halfway. They are halfway to a 13th place finish in the nation in the women's double. Behind the Fort Collins boat are the ladies from Baltimore here in their white vest poli, and they just came through the red buoy line at 1,000. They are rowing about 34 strokes a minute, are these ladies. Their unisuits, you're going to see, are primarily black on the front and back, and then on the sides they're white, gold, and red. And they are about a length of open water now behind Fort Collins. So it's a length of open water separating each of the three boats right now, very spaced out here in the C-final of the women's double. Out front continues to be Episcopal School of Dallas. In second place continues to be the ladies from Fort Collins, Colorado, Miss Rolfs and Borman. And then in lane 5 from Baltimore, Miss Waters and McDaniel in that Baltimore double. You can see Miss McDaniel here in the Baltimore double, just checking over her right shoulder to see where those other crews are. Often the bow seats in these sculling boats are also the inboard coxswain, trying to call the race pace, trying to motivate the other rowers. Certainly in a quad, also oftentimes in these doubles, they will motivate their pair mate or rowing mate in the double and try to let them know where they stand in relation to the other boats. It's a little bit more of an advantage now for Fort Collins over Baltimore. It's a little more than 2 lengths of open water, and the lead for Episcopal School of Dallas is also swelled by a couple of seats to slightly more than a boat length of open water over Fort Collins. So it's pretty spaced out. We are going to give this one to the finish line as your leader approaches that red buoy line with 500 to go. This is a C-final of the women's youth double. Episcopal School of Dallas leading Fort Collins and Baltimore.
Katie Smythe and Isabel Harrington from the Episcopal School of Dallas in the C final, leading. Sally Borman and Sierra Rolfs from Fort Collins Rowing Association in this race, and Laura McDaniel and Cassandra Waters of Baltimore that are racing down the course right now. Boat from Fort Collins in second, with the Episcopal boat leading, and Baltimore in third. Just ahead will be the men's double C final. The Episcopal School of Dallas still leading in the C final for the women's double. Katie Smythe and Isabel Harrington at strokes. These 17-year-olds accomplished quite a bit this season. Happy to be here in the C finals. Although I imagine they'd like to be rowing tomorrow instead of today, but still there. Allie Borman and Sierra Rolfs from Fort Collins Rowing Association just about a boat length behind them, maybe a little bit of open water as they're in the final 100 meters of this 2,000-meter race. But it is Episcopal School of Dallas that will be finishing in the C final in first place, followed by the boat from Fort Collins and then Baltimore. The D final for the C final for the women's double completed there. No D final due to the number of entries in the race. So the C final will be the final race for those women's doubles. The men's doubles up next. The C final for the men's doubles are Lake Oswego Community in lane 2, Malvern Prep in lane 3, South Jersey in lane 4, Conestoga in lane 5, and Rochester, Minnesota in lane 6. They are underway, and it's an early lead from Conestoga. Out to about half a boat length lead over the second place boat from Malvern Prep. In between those two, South Jersey in the mix, just a half a boat length back, and in third. Then a battle for fourth between Rochester and Lake Oswego. Beautiful perspective from the drone here at Benderson Park in Sarasota. A nice view of how these boats move down the course. So the C final for the men's double underway out of the breakage area, 500 meters in. We'll go to David in the chase car for the call now.
Is from Rochester. So this is for places 13 through 17 in the nation in the men's double, and it is still out front in their pink jerseys. It is the gentleman from Malvern. As they come through 1,000, they now have opened up a slight amount of water on Conestoga. Conestoga with about 3/4 of a length advantage in their white Felipe here in lane 5 over the gentleman in lane 4 from South Jersey. South Jersey gentlemen row very upright at the finish. They're doing it together though, so it's certainly is working for them. They've gotten to the Youth National Championship, as opposed to the gentlemen that you see from Malvern up front, who really swing through the stroke a bit more. And now here comes Conestoga. Conestoga starting to press a little bit and trying to get into Malvern, so it could end up being a bit closer by the time we hit the 500 meter to go point, the 1500 meter point in this race. But it's 3/4 of a length. Yeah, so they have grabbed an overlap as Conestoga. There was actually some open water there at about 1100 for Malvern. It's now a slight overlap with Conestoga in second place, with that Malvern boat out in front up there in lane 3 as they hit 1300 meters into this C final of the men's double. And there is now open water between Conestoga and the boat in lane 4 from South Jersey. The South Jersey gentlemen are have a couple seats of open water back to 4th place, which is lane 2, Lake Oswego. So it's relatively spaced out. It's about a length in between each one of the top 4 boats here as we approach 500 to go. It is still the gentleman in lane 3 from Malvern Prep out in front of Conestoga, but Conestoga is the boat that has kind of moved a little bit here. They have really put themselves pretty well ahead of 3rd place South Jersey. With 500 to go, it's a race up front between Malvern Prep and Conestoga. I will give it to you at the finish.
As the men's doubles C final continues down the course, quite a battle shaping up between Malvern Prep and Conestoga. Malvern Prep applying pressure to their oars and moving that boat down the course. Conestoga trying to keep it going too. I'm good. Hitting those red buoys indicating 250 meters to go. That gives the rowers a little bit of warning how close to the finish that they are. Sometimes they fall into their strategy as well. But boy, look at this. It's really Malvern Prep and Conestoga going at it left and right. Malvern Prep glancing to the left, seeing that they have a bit of an advantage. They begin to pick up the pace, heading towards the finish line. Conestoga trying to respond. They begin to dig deep too. Coming down to the finish. In the C final for the men's double here at the 2017 Youth National Championships, it does appear that Malvern Prep holds off a late surge from Conestoga. It's Malvern Prep, Conestoga. Here comes South Jersey over in third, Lake Oswego in fourth, and rounding out the C final for the men's doubles, it's the boat from Rochester, Minnesota. Many of these young athletes with their first opportunity to row in a national championship, some young enough that they will be having fun, perhaps doing it again. On the course now is the first of the C finals for pairs, the women's pairs. In Lane 1, Nashville. Lane 2, RNY, Manhattan. Lane 3, Seattle. Lane 4, Norwalk River. Lane 5, Mountain Lakes. Lane 6, Gainesville area. As they go down the course, early lead for Norwalk River, out by about a boat length over Seattle. And then it is Nashville. And then a fight for fourth after that between New York, Manhattan, the Gainesville area, and Mountain Lakes. So the pairs you saw rowing in the semis this morning will be rowing again tomorrow in the women's pair for the A and B finals. These are the C finals, the D finals for the pairs showing up later this afternoon. But right now, a nice one boat length lead for Norwalk River. As Matt Muffleman was saying earlier, very challenging boats to row because you do have to be fairly even rowers, fairly equal rowers, I should say. Little bit of incursion into the lane from the boat from Mountain Lakes, causing the Gainesville area to have to skew off course. I'm sure the referees are going to be giving them some grief. We'll see what happens. Let's see what David Wyant has to say about that.
All right, we're here with the women's youth pair C final. We're at about 650 meters with your leader, lane 4, Norwalk River. Norwalk River with a little bit of open water, a couple seats back to second place, the boat in lane 3 from Seattle. Seattle with a full length on the third place boat all the way up in lane 1 from Nashville. The Nashville ladies have about 3/4 of a length on a good race right in front of us between Gainesville and lane 6, who has a couple of feet on the boat in lane 5 from Mountain Lakes in New Jersey. The 6th place boat, but connected with these two boats in front of us in 5th and 6th, is the boat in lane 2, a red boat from Row, New York, Manhattan. So, at 800 meters, your leader, Norwalk River, has almost a length of open water. They're rowing in a white boat, primarily white blades with the Norwalk logo, which is red and blue. And they're doing a nice job, really very in sync, and I can tell that they're at a relatively low rating, but they've got a good pace through the water. So there's probably something left in the tank there if they're going to get challenged by Seattle behind them in lane 3. Seattle is rowing in a white boat that's got some orange decaling. Looks like their blades are pretty dark with a couple stripes on the ends, and they have now a half a length, almost 3/4 of a length open back to really where the race is happening in terms of bows going after one another. The boat in lane 5, a bright orange boat from Mountain Lakes, maybe has about 6 inches or a foot on the boat all the way up in lane 1 from Nashville, and Nashville has only about 2 or 3 feet on Gainesville right in front of us in a black boat with red piping from Gainesville area rowing here in Florida. So, 3 boats connected behind the top 2. This is a C final of the women's youth pair, and we are racing here for places 13 through 18 in the nation in the women's pair. little bit more than a length of open water now for Norwalk River over Seattle, and Seattle continues to move away from the boats behind them, taking a couple of inches every stroke at Seattle. They have 3/4 of a length of open water back to now a solid third place, and has rode away with it a little bit from those other two boats that were very close to them, is the boat in lane 5 from Mountain Lakes. So a nice move there at halfway from Mountain Lakes was very, very effective in that bright orange boat. They now have a full length on both Gainesville, who is just below them or closer to us on the wave attenuator in lane 6, and the boat all the way up in lane 1 that's been there the whole time as well, which is Nashville. Through the 1250, it still continues to be Norwalk River with 2 boat lengths of open water now, really rowing away with it in the driver's seat up there. And behind them is Seattle with a big cushion as well, almost 3/4 of a boat length. But the boat that's been moving and continues to move, they're at a relatively high rating, and they are really leaving it out here on the water, is the boat in lane 5 from Mountain Lakes. Mountain Lakes, I mean, they dropped these 2 boats behind them, and they are starting to slowly move into Seattle just a little bit. But we'll see what happens in the last 500, because they're having to use a lot of energy in terms of their stroke rating to get into Seattle. Seattle is at a lower stroke rating up there in lane 3. I'm going to give this one to you at the finish line. It is the women's pair C final. Out in front, Norwalk River. A couple boat lengths of open water back to Seattle, and Seattle has a couple of seats open back to a crew that is trying tremendously, just giving it all of the effort that they have. Mountain Lakes in lane 5.
Olivia Bernardini and Victoria Markov in the Norwalk River boat doing a fine job in the C final for the women's pairs. Moving right along, staying within their game plan and keeping it moving. Second place, Seattle. That's Serafina Wright and Arlie Ness. They're doing their job, trying to catch up with Norwalk, but Norwalk keeping their head in the boat and doing a fine job. In the meantime, working hard, that boat in third place from Mountain Lakes, though they have been drifting from one side of the lane to the other and occasionally giving Gainesville a bit of a scare, but they are in third right now, but being pursued by Nashville as they come into the final 300 meters of the race in the C final. Seattle doing their best to try to catch up with Norwalk, but Norwalk has been doing a fine job of rowing straight and rowing fast in this race. And they continue to press ahead. In the meantime, it looks like Gainesville is trying to catch up with Mountain Lake. Mountain Lake is about a boat length ahead, but there's still some water there that they might be able to catch up. But in the lead right now, it's Olivia Bernardini and Victoria Markov from the Norwalk River Rowing Association in the C final. The women's pair, less than 100 meters from the finish line. Seattle right there, just behind in second. And the boat from Mountain Lakes working hard to try to catch up. Nashville trying to maintain contact with Mountain Lakes, but it looks like Mountain Lakes will stay ahead. Gainesville, too, plying forward. So at the finish in the C final for the women's pair, it's Norwalk River in first, Seattle in second, Mountain Lakes in third. And here comes Gainesville and Nashville dueling it out for fourth, and they're at the line. Oh, I can't call that one or the other. Either Gainesville or Nashville, they're in fourth. I'll have to leave that one to the refs at the finish line to sort out. At least from my angle, I couldn't really tell. And then the boat from Manhattan crossing the line. From the women's pairs to the men's pairs, the C final for the men's pairs will be coming up straight ahead. Lineup for that C final: Bromfield Acton Boxborough in lane 1, Sarasota, the home team, in lane 2, PNRA Mercer in lane 3, lane 4 will be St. Louis, lane 5 OKC Riversport, and the other Bromfield Acton Boxborough boat in lane 6 in the men's pair C final. They're in the starting gate right now, waiting to come on and begin. South Bay Rowing wishes all the rowers the best of luck. They've been carrying a large variety of rowing-related apparel and accessories since back in 1996. Please visit them at rowhard.com. One of the many vendors here at the 2017 U.S. Rowing Youth Nationals, there to give you a little something to do between your races. The men's pairs on the water and underway. We'll get you a call as soon as we can.
You're on.
And we get a shot from the drone to see that the men's pair C final is underway. Bromfield Acton Boxborough in lane 1 in the lead, half a boat length over the home team of Sarasota. Half a boat length back from that is the boat in lane 4 from St. Louis. But they're moving forward fast, and it look like they're overcoming that boat from Sarasota. And staying in touch is the PNRA Mercer boat in lane 3, with the other Bromfield Acton Boxborough boat in lane 6, now in 4th, and the OKC Riversport boat not that far back. Very even C final for the men's pairs here, but it's the Bromfield Acton Boxborough lane 1 boat that's in the lead to David up on the chase car for more action.
Top of the race course in lane 1 from Bromfield Acton Boxborough. Love saying that name. In lane 6, their teammates are in lane 6. So we have a Bromfield Acton Boxborough sandwich of a C final here, with 2 entries from that club in lanes 1 and 6. Your second place boat at the moment is the boat in lane 4 from St. Louis. St. Louis has about a 3/4 length advantage on Sarasota Crew in lane 2. Sarasota Crew sitting in 3rd place, about a deck ahead of PNRA Mercer in lane 3. Mercer has about a 3/4 length advantage over the boat in lane 5 from OKC Riversport, and OKC Riversport with about a deck on the Bromfield Acton Boxborough B entry in lane 6. Here comes lane 4, the gentleman from St. Louis, and it is stroke for stroke up front now at 800 meters with that boat that was leading all the way until this point from Bromfield Acton Boxborough in lane 1. It is stroke for stroke. Whoever's in the water is in the lead between St. Louis and Bromfield Acton Boxborough. And coming up, also showing some speed here, is PNRA Mercer in lane 3. They have passed Sarasota Crew for 3rd place. Sarasota Crew hanging on to 4th place. They've got about 3/4 of a length over the boat in lane 5 from OKC Riversport. So those are your top 5 boats. Also connected with OKC Riversport is the other pair in front of us from Bromfield Acton Boxborough in lane 6. But your new leader, and they have rowed through Bromfield Acton Boxborough, are the gentlemen from St. Louis in lane 4. White boat, primarily red blades, and then there's sort of a white oval with the tips, very tips of the blade, are navy blue, the colors of St. Louis Rowing Club. And Bromfield Acton Boxborough, they don't want St. Louis to run away with this thing. They actually have now brought it back to even at halfway. It looks like all 4 of the boats up front took moves at the halfway point because they started to press out a little bit from the 2 trailing boats, and everybody is in the mix here. This is a really close race in this C final of the men's pair. It is now a lead again for St. Louis, so Bromfield Acton Boxborough brought it back to even. It is now a couple-foot lead again for St. Louis over Bromfield Acton Boxborough, but the boat that's moving the most right now is a boat from Mercer, Princeton National Rowing Association Mercer in lane 3. They have brought it to even with Bromfield Acton Boxborough and have now passed Bromfield Acton Boxborough as we hit 1250. It is St. Louis with a deck over this hard-charging boat from PNRA Mercer that has passed Bromfield Acton Boxborough. That is, they are a half a length behind is Bromfield Acton Boxborough. Now PNRA Mercer, who is challenging now St. Louis for the lead. What a move here. What a third 500 from PNRA Mercer. It is stroke for stroke up front now. PNRA Mercer, St. Louis, St. Louis understroking just slightly PNRA Mercer, and Mercer has taken the lead. What a third 500. Third place is still Bromfield, Acton, Boxborough in lane 1. Fourth place, Sarasota Crew hanging on to it by a couple feet over lane 5, OKC Riversport. I'll give it to you guys at the finish line. What a race up front.
Neck and neck. That's the racing we like right there. And here in the C final for the men's pair, St. Louis, PNRA Mercer, Bromfield, Acton, Boxborough, all duking it out right there. That lead boat right now, well, it keeps on going back and forth, but that PNRA Mercer being stroked there by Andrew Moss and Dana Gajewski, they are just going stroke for stroke with that boat from St. Louis, rowed by Quinn Reagan and Isaac Eastland. They keep to go. You can see a little bit of steerage issues happening there in lane 5. The boat from OKC Riversport having a little bit of difficulty in starting to lean into the lane 4. As long as they're not interfering, it's okay. You don't have to stay in your lane. You just can't get in anybody's way. Over in lane 1, Bromfield, Acton, Boxborough probably suffering a little bit from their early fast start and begin to drift a little bit into the other lane as well, causing some issues. But here in the C final for the men's pair at the 2017 U.S. Rowing Youth National Championships, it's a nice showing from the PNRA Mercer boat as they went and passed both St. Louis and Bromfield, Acton, Boxborough. And as they come into the final 200 meters, all these boats working hard, deciding to dig a little bit deeper. And look at these boats begin to surge. PNRA Mercer in the lead right now with OKC Riversport coming up fast on the outside. We also have St. Louis trying to hang in there, and a charge from Bromfield, Acton, Boxborough. OKC Riversport making up a lot of room and coming up and now seizing second place and seizing second from St. Louis, but St. Louis is not done yet. Crossing the line first, though, it is PNRA Mercer in lane 3. Here comes OKC Riversport for second. Third goes to St. Louis. Fourth to Bromfield, Acton, Boxborough in lane 1. Then a surge from Sarasota. They get fifth, and sixth goes to Bromfield, Acton, Boxborough in lane 6. The C final for the men's pair. Congratulations to the men from PNRA Mercer. The next C final on the water and underway. The women's quads C final. South Jersey in lane 1, Holy Names in lane 2, Founders in lane 3, Conestoga in lane 4, Lake Lanier in lane 5, and Atlanta Junior in lane 6. The Lake Lanier Atlanta Juniors, I'm sure, very familiar with each other and compete quite often down there in Georgia. We'll go to see what the chase car is doing in just a moment, but the women's quads here will be followed by the men's quads. Again, we're doing the C finals here at the 2017 U.S. Rowing Youth National Championships. Out in front early in the women's quad, Conestoga. By an open water, about 10 feet of open water lead over Founders in lane 3. Go to David and let him catch up on the action.
Maroon blades, and they have horizontal stripes on their unisuits, so pretty easy to pick out of the crowd here. They have about a half a length of open water, and really the race that's going on is behind them. Tremendous race happening between lane 3, Founders from Dallas, rowing up there in what looks like a really nice Felipe. They have bright blue blades, kind of a light blue, but it's very bright. Also the boat in lane 5 from Lake Lanier, the site of the 96 Olympics and this year's Southeast Regional Championship in Georgia. And then this boat in lane 6 right in front of us from Atlanta Juniors. Their rivals from the Atlanta area, Lake Lanier and Atlanta Juniors, right next to each other in lanes 5 and 6 here. Coming through 750 with your leader, Conestoga. Excuse me, Conestoga looking very controlled. Let's see if I can get a stroke rating on them. It's not terribly high. It's really very much under control. trying to move the boat through the water, 36 strokes a minute or so. So they're putting it out there here in this C final, knowing it's their last race of the season. Still a third place is Founders up there in lane 3 from Dallas, but it's only about a foot. And now starting to charge a bit in their white Hudson. In front of us in lane 5 is Lake Lanier. It is dead even between Lake Lanier and Founders for second and third. Great race on this beautiful flat day we have here at Nathan Benderson Park. Fourth place, lane 6, Atlanta Juniors. Fifth place is the boat in lane 2 from Holy Names Academy in Seattle, and they are getting a big press, a huge move happening from lane 1. Lane 1 here shortly is possibly going to be in fourth place. Those are the ladies from South Jersey. They just took a massive move here before the 1,000, right about 900 meters, and they put themselves past Holy Names Academy, and they're trying to get past Atlanta Juniors that's in front of us. But 1,100 meters in, continuing to be your leader, trying to finish number 13 in the United States in the women's quad is Conestoga. Conestoga's advantage now is about 3/4 of a length open water to second place, which is Lake Lanier sitting in lane 5. Lake Lanier in their white boat with white blades. Always a lot of coordination, especially in the women's boats. They're all wearing white visors. They have about a deck over the ladies from Founders up there in lane 3. And Founders has a little bit of open water, about 3 seats of open water, back to just a dogfight for 4th, 5th, and 6th place. I'm going to give it right now to that crew that made that huge move in lane 1 from South Jersey, but it's maybe a foot over the ladies right in front of us in lane 6 from Atlanta Juniors, and then it is Holy Names Academy as they come through 1250. Out in front still, and still with a good amount of open water, almost a full length of open water, is that yellow boat from Conestoga in lane 4. Trying to row away with this thing, trying to win the C final is Conestoga. They have about 650 meters left to that finish line. Behind them, a length of open water back, is Lake Lanier. Lake Lanier only a couple feet advantage over third place Founders. I will give it to you guys at the finish line. C final of the women's youth quad.
Hearing cries of Stoga, Stoga, Stoga. Sounds like the Animal House a little bit down here on the beach as Conestoga continues to lead in the C final for the women's quad. Keeping their act together and their head in the boat, as they say. Rowing coaches will tell you, if you're not there to tourist, don't keep on gawking around. You're watching the back of the head of the rower in front of you and trying to keep everything together. Dedication, determination, synchronization, the secret when it comes to rowing. Conestoga here in the C final for the women's quad, still out in the lead, being pursued by Lake Lanier and Founders, with the Atlanta Juniors and South Jersey dueling for 4th place. Holy Names trying to hang with the pack as they come down the course in the C final. Lake Lanier with a slight advantage over Founders for second right now. Battle shaping up for third. Holy Names not out of it yet. Sounds like John Belushi's down on the pier as they cheer on the Conestoga boat here in the women's quad C final at the USRowing Youth National Championships. Conestoga very confident and really coordinated as they're moving right down. A little bit of a pickup of pace in their stroke because they feel some pressure coming on from Lake Lanier. Lake Lanier beginning to surge forward. They're trying to stay ahead of Founders in lane 3. What a finish shaping up right now. Conestoga with a boat length lead most of the time, but now in touch, there's Lake Lanier. But at the finish line, Conestoga in first place. It's Lake Lanier surging to second with Founders in third. Atlanta Juniors in 4th. Here comes Holy Names for 5th and South Jersey for 6th in the C final of the women's quads. Back down to the men's quads. Lane 1, Olympia area. Lane 2, Seattle. Lane 3, Haddon Township. Lane 4, San Diego. Lane 5, Episcopal School of Dallas. And Lane 6, Mile High in the C final for the men's quads. We'll go to David for the call now as they're about 750 meters in.
Haddon Township in a white boat with red blades. They have a full-length advantage for first place over second place, which is the boat in lane 4 from San Diego. San Diego Rowing Club in a white Hudson. Hudsons are made in Canada, and they have white blades with 2 vertical red stripes on them. They look good here for second place. Third place, too close to call. The boat up in lane 1 from Olympia area is right in the mix. They might have a couple inches over the boat in lane 6 from Mile High in Colorado, Greenwood Village, Colorado. And right with those boats as well is the boat in lane 5 from Episcopal School of Dallas. And then only about a half a length off the pace of those 3 boats as we come through 1,000 is the boat from Seattle Rowing Club up in lane 2. So this is very close racing. We've got four or five boats connected here behind your leader, which is the boat still from Haddon Township over in New Jersey from Philadelphia. And they have 3/4 of a length over San Diego. San Diego Rowing Club with a full length on this battle for 3rd, 4th, and 5th place between that boat in lane 1 from Olympia area, the boat right in front of us in lane 6 from Mile High, and then just above them in lane 5 is the boat from Episcopal School of Dallas. And as soon as I say that and I leave out Seattle, here comes Seattle. Seattle in lane 2 is right in the mix. There's only about a deck, only 4 or 5 feet separating 4 boats here behind the top 2 boats. And as I look up at 1250, San Diego is starting to reel in that boat from Haddon Township a little bit. San Diego with a solid overlap now. At one point it was only about a seat or 2 of overlap. It's more like a half a length, and they are pushing. I can watch their bow eat into that boat that's been out in front from Haddon Township. So as they approach 600 meters to go and I leave it off to the finish line tower, this is an amazing race up front and then behind the 2 up front. Up front, big battle, Haddon Township trying to hang on over San Diego, and behind them it is anybody's ball game. Give it to you.
The racing like you like to see when they're close like this, and every stroke making a difference. The boat's moving back and forth. It looks like you're ahead, but the next stroke you're just a little bit behind, but the stroke after that you're just ahead. And quite a battle shaping up here in the C final for the men's quads. Haddon Township had been in the lead. San Diego eating into that lead. Quite a battle shaping up for 3rd place after that with Olympia area, Mile High, and Episcopal School of Dallas. San Diego with a slight advantage right now over Haddon Township. Haddon Township had been leading, but now San Diego is out in front. Mile High lurking in lane 6. Trying to fend off the advances of Seattle in lane 2, in between Episcopal School of Dallas, also trying to remain in the battle. No one is out of the hunt yet. San Diego continuing to press forward. Haddon Township following. Episcopal School appears to be flagging a little bit. A big surge from Mile High as they head into the last 100 meters or so. San Diego now almost a boat length ahead in the C final for the men's quads. San Diego in lane 4 in first place right now, with Haddon Township just behind. Seattle beginning to surge, trying to hold on to 3rd place as Mile High keeps moving forward. But at the line, it is San Diego in first. Haddon Township in 2nd. Seattle in 3rd by half a boat length over Mile High. And then here comes a surge from Episcopal School just to beat out, well, I don't know, awful close between Episcopal and Olympia for that 5th place here in the C final for the men's quads. The next C final on the water and rowing right now, the women's lightweight doubles. It's Accra in lane 1, City Island lane 2, Stanton Riverbank in lane 3, Long Beach Juniors in lane 4, Redwood Scholars, Stanford Center in lane 5, and Pocock in lane 6.
Okay, so you're suspending launching as of right now?
A slight advantage in first place early on from the Long Beach Juniors. They have half a boat length ahead of Stanton River, but all 6 of the boats in this C final are right in touch. We're only about a boat length and a half from the bow ball of the leader to the stern of the trailer. It is Long Beach Juniors in the lead by only a deck from Stanton Riverbank, with Accra and looks like the Redwood Scullers doing it out. Pocock is right in there, and City Island setting into their swing as well through about 500 meters. We'll see what David has to say with a closer look.
All right, your leader at 500 meters in the women's lightweight youth double C final is Long Beach in lane 4. I have them at 37 strokes a minute. They're in a white boat with blue blades. Their jerseys are gold. They have about a half a length advantage now through 500 over 3 boats. Lanes 1, 3, and 5. Lane 1 is ACRA from...
Ladies and gentlemen, rowers on the venue, your attention please. Your attention on the venue please. Launching has been suspended till further notice due to weather. Attention on the venue. Launching has been suspended till further notice due to weather. Thank you.
From ACRA. ACRA may be a deck behind the new leader now, and that is the boat in front of us, Redwood Scullers. Big move there at about 600 meters. They've taken the lead from Long Beach. Long Beach about a foot behind Redwood Scullers. Redwood Scullers ladies in front of us, white boat, white blades, white jerseys, and white visors. Almost a deck for Redwood over Long Beach. Long Beach has about a half a length over that boat from ACRA all the way up in lane 1, and ACRA has a half a length on the blue boat in lane 3 from Stanton Riverbank. Stanton Riverbank, a team that's located near Jacksonville. They have about a seat of open water back to too close to call between lanes 2 and 6. City Island in lane 2 and Pocock from Seattle in lane 6. Out front, the lead has swelled just a little bit. It's still an overlap, though. It's a 3/4 length lead for the ladies from Redwood Scullers Stamford Center. As they come through the halfway point, they are trying to break the overlap on that Long Beach boat that held the lead for the first 500 meters. Long Beach still in a solid second place here with almost a full length on third place ACRA in lane 1. ACRA hanging tough up there with their white blades with kind of a cross on them. They have about 3/4 of a length in what looks like a Felipe up there, their white boat, over this bright blue boat in lane 3 from Stanton Riverbank. So starting to space out just a little bit, but as we've seen, there can be moves really kind of changing the field, especially in this third 500. It seems to be where some crews start to really feel the hurt and start to drop back. If there's some energy that one of these crews can put into their stroke in this third 500, they might see some good dividends. But up front, as we approach 1250, the red buoy line, the first crew that's going to get there, who's starting to row away with this C final of the women's lightweight double just a little bit, is the Redwood Scullers Stamford Center boat. They have open water now at 1250. It's about 2 seats of open water to Long Beach. Long Beach in lane 4 trying to hang on. They're just getting pressed every stroke that they take by lane 1, ACRA. ACRA with 1 seat of open water back to 4th place Stanton Riverbank. So those are your top 4. The connection right now is between 2nd and 3rd place boats, Long Beach and ACRA. 1350 in, 650 to go for these ladies out front, trying to finish 13th place in the country in the women's lightweight double. It's Redwood Scullers Stamford Center, a full length of open water now back to Long Beach. Long Beach in lane 4, only a deck advantage, only about 5 feet of an advantage over the ladies from ACRA up in lane 1, continuing to challenge them. I'll give it to you at the finish line.
Petra Hinders and Lucy Carlson from Redwood Scullers in the lead here in the C final for the lightweight doubles for the ladies. They are in first place, being pursued by the Long Beach Juniors crew of Danielle Hoekstra and Amanda Yap. But meantime, in lane 1, the boat from Accra in New Jersey is trying to pursue and pressure those lead boats. We'll have to see how it all shakes out. 2,000 meters is a long way to go, and when you are rowing a mile and a quarter in less than 7 minutes, you are working hard. I was telling a friend about these races and how competitive they are, and how in 6 to 8 minutes you go 2,000 meters, over a mile, and he goes, I can't ride a bike a mile in 7 minutes. Long Beach still commanding Redwood still commanding in the lead. Petra Hinders and Lucy Carlson rowing towards the win, hopefully in the C final. They have an open water lead over the second place boat. Second place boat from Long Beach Juniors, who had been leading earlier. Accra and Stanton River still pursuing, with Pocock and City Island in the C final as well. Looking cool and confident, the Redwood Scullers in lane 5, stroking towards the win. It looks like Accra has really moved forward and is beginning to claim second place, but Long Beach is not going to give it up easy. So as they come to the line in the C final for the lightweight doubles for the ladies here at the 2017 U.S. Rowing Youth National Championships, crossing the line, the Redwood Scullers in first place, with the battle for second happening right now, but Long Beach digs in. Big spurt there at the end from Long Beach. They'll come in second. It looks like Accra will be third. Stanton Riverbank fourth. Pocock fifth. That leaves City Island in sixth in the C final for the lightweight doubles. The men's lightweight doubles on the course right now. The next C final, Indianapolis in lane 1, Oregon Unlimited in lane 2, Gainesville area in lane 3, Ridgewood in lane 4, North Jersey in lane 5, and Narragansett in lane 6. David has the call.
All right, we have a New Jersey battle up front here in the men's lightweight youth double C final. For a while there, for the first 500 meters, your leader were the gentlemen from Ridgewood, New Jersey in lane 4. Your new leader are the gentlemen from Ringwood, New Jersey in lane 5 from the North Jersey Rowing Club. They have now almost 3/4 of a length. They took a move at 500 that got them the lead. They're in a yellow boat with white blades. They're in lane 5. They have 3/4 of a length on the gentleman from Ridgewood in lane 4. Ridgewood has about 2 feet on the gentleman in lane 6 from Narragansett from Providence, Rhode Island. And Narragansett has a couple of feet on the gentleman from Gainesville, Florida in lane 3, sitting in 4th place from Gainesville area rowing. So 800 meters in here to the C final of the men's lightweight youth double. And we are looking at the 13th through 18th place finishers in the nation in this event, the men's lightweight youth double. It is a full-length advantage now, so they're continuing to press out ahead of the rest of the field are the gentlemen from Ringwood, New Jersey, from the North Jersey Rowing Club, and they have a full length on your new second place, which are the gentlemen right in front of us, Mr. Greenberg and Stone from Narragansett. Narragansett now has a half a length on 2 boats that are dead heated for 3rd and 4th place. Gainesville, who has moved up, and the boat in lane 4, Ridgewood, who has moved back just slightly. So at 1,000 meters, it is a full-length advantage still for the gentlemen from North Jersey in their yellow boat. North Jersey with a length over Narragansett, and here comes a fast-moving Gainesville. Gainesville pressing through that the halfway point, the 1,000-meter mark. They are now solidly in 3rd place, and I just caught the bowman in the Narragansett boat taking a look to his right. He just saw that Gainesville has pressed ahead now of the gentleman in lane 4 from Ridgewood, who are one of our early leaders. So a lot of jockeying happening in this race. Really competitive up front, about 2 boat lengths separating the top 4 boats. And here comes Narragansett. It was a full-length advantage for the gentleman from North Jersey. It is now only a half a length Narragansett starting to move up here. They're in lane 6, closest to the beach as they come down. And they are approaching 1250 are your leaders. Narragansett with about a half a length on Gainesville. Gainesville still moving up there in lane 3 in their white boat with black blades. Their jerseys are a very bright light blue color. They now have a full length for third place over a still a little bit fading Ridgewood boat in lane 4. Fifth place boat is the boat in lane 2 from Oregon Unlimited, and the sixth place boat is Indianapolis in lane 1. Even closer up front now. Here comes Narragansett. They're just chipping away at that lead that the boat in lane 5 from North Jersey has had for a while now, and they just keep moving their bow just slowly but steadily every stroke into that boat. It's only a deck advantage, only about 4 feet now for the North Jersey gentlemen over Narragansett. I will give it to you at the finish line. Third place Gainesville, fourth place is the boat from Ridgewood.
And just as they pass that 1,500-meter mark, it does appear that the boat from Narragansett has caught up with North Jersey. It's Benjamin Sachs and Ewan Walker in North Jersey's boat. Jack Stone, Jonathan Greenberg battling in the Narragansett Boat Club, neck and neck, bow ball to bow ball, but Narragansett was walking up on North Jersey. Looks like third belongs to the Gainesville area still, and they are trying to stay in touch with the leaders, but not much separation among all these boats in the C final for the men's lightweight doubles. Good race right close to the spectators right here on the shore between North Jersey and Narragansett. North Jersey responding to Narragansett. Narragansett continuing to chip away and move forward. Gainesville hoping that while they're fighting, they will miss the fact that Gainesville's sneaking up a little bit. A battle for fourth shaping up between Ridgewood and Oregon Unlimited too. But it's Narragansett now in the lead over North Jersey, coming down inside of 250 meters to go to the finish. North Jersey not giving up. Narragansett trying to continue to chip and stay ahead of North Jersey. Gainesville, in the meantime, beginning to chip into both of those. Gainesville picking up the pace as they come down to the line. It looks like Gainesville is surging forward. Narragansett, feeling that threat, begins to try to paddle too. Will it be enough? Gainesville surging. Narragansett. Then it's North Jersey. But wait, there's Oregon Unlimited coming along too. Here in the men's lightweight doubles at the line. It's Narragansett dueling with Gainesville, and may have been Narragansett. We'll have to wait for the call. Narragansett, then Gainesville, then North Jersey, followed by Ridgewood, Oregon Unlimited, and Indianapolis in that order for the C final for the men's lightweight doubles. What a race at the end. We'll have to see what the refs saw down on the line. Attention on the venue. Attention on the venue, ladies and gentlemen, rowers and coaches. Due to weather in the area, launching is currently suspended, beginning with race 70. Races through race 69 will be raced down the course. Once again, due to weather in the area, launching is currently suspended, beginning with race 70. Races through race 69 will be raced down the course. It's the C final for the women's 4 on the course right now. The lineup: Utah in lane 1, Mount St. Joseph lane 2, Commencement Bay in lane 3, Texas Center in lane 4, CRI in lane 5, Chattanooga in lane 6, and it is out in front, Texas Center. To begin with, David has the call.
That belongs to Mount St. Joseph. Mount St. Joseph up there has a couple of feet on the boat in lane 3 from Commencement Bay. Commencement Bay with also maybe about a foot on CRI right in front of us in lane 5 in their bright red boat, Red Hudson. So it's a really good race up front. 4 boats connected, even with the leader here, Texas Center. 4 boats vying for the lead of this C final of the Women's Youth 4. Then it's about a boat length of open water back to fifth place, which is a green boat, bright green boat in front of us, Chattanooga. Chattanooga sitting in sixth place, and in fifth place, and then the sixth place boat is the boat all the way up in lane 1 from Utah. All the way from Utah. They're rowing in a boat that's maroon in color. So a lot of colored equipment here that's helping us figure out who these crews are. A full length advantage now for Texas. Texas in lane 4 has a full length over now, very close between CRI and lane 5. CRI might have about a foot, or it's stroke for stroke between CRI and that boat from Mount St. Joseph, that purple boat up in lane 2. And those two boats that are in second and third, stroke for stroke, are only about a deck, so only about 4 or 5 feet ahead of the Black Resolute from Commencement Bay in lane 3. So it's still very close, very bunched up front here. The only boat that seems to have an overlap with the Texas boat that's out front is this community rowing boat in front of us. They're sitting in second place. They now have about a 4-foot advantage on the boat from Mount St. Joseph's as we come through the halfway point. In fact, maybe Mount St. Joseph putting on a little bit of a press, getting into Texas. They do have an overlap as Mount St. Joseph. So 2 boats overlapped with your leader, but CRI seems to be the boat that's moving the most at the moment on the race course in this C final of the Women's Youth 4. Texas trying to go start to finish, trying to stay ahead of these competitive boats behind them. CRI from Boston right in front of us in their red boat, trying to get into that Texas lead. They're doing it about an inch a stroke, so they're slowly moving into them. But Texas has every advantage being out in front to see what the speed is like behind them. CRI starting to pull away a bit from the boat from Mount St. Joseph, that purple boat up in lane 2. And Mount St. Joseph has about a deck, 4 or 5 feet over the boat in lane 3 from Commencement Bay. So 4 boats for this C final at 12:50 that are all in the mix. Texas is doing a good job of just continuing to stay in the lead, holding about a 3/4 boat length lead over CRI. And here comes Commencement Bay. Commencement Bay just made a move right there, about a 10-stroke move, and they passed Mount St. Joseph for 3rd place. So there's a lot of back and forth. We saw CRI at one point in 3rd or 4th place. They're in now a solid 2nd place, half a length over the new 3rd place Commencement Bay. And Commencement Bay has a deck over Mount St. Joseph, who now seems to be charging back just a little bit. So really good strategic race here. A lot of moves that are making a difference. I'm going to give it to you all at the finish line. Very competitive C final of the Women's Youth 4. Texas in front of CRI, Commencement Bay, and Mount St. Joseph.
A lot of movement happening in these last 500 meters. I imagine there'll be more. Texas Center leading this C final with second place CRI continuing to chip away at that lead, and Commencement Bay moving up to 3rd, and no doubt beginning to chip into CRI as well. Mount St. Joe now in 4th, Chattanooga in 5th, and Utah in 6th in the C final for the women's 4. Texas trying to go start to finish in this C final and trying to maintain the lead, but boy, look at CRI pouring it on. Texas still in the lead, but losing some ground as CRI continues to press. Commencement Bay not out of the hunt either, and over in lane 2, Mount St. Joseph trying to maintain contact with those front 3. In the meantime, Chattanooga in lane 6 continuing to pursue, as is Utah. But Texas in the middle, those distinctive red, white, and blue, that beautiful star oars coming down the course right now, trying to fend off CRI just behind them, with Commencement Bay just behind them. A 1-2-3 finish. It will be exciting here at the finish line for the C final in the women's 4 at the 2017 USRowing Youth National Championship Regatta. Texas continuing to move forward. CRI continuing to try to find the power to catch up and pass in the meters remaining. But it's Texas continuing to pull hard. Commencement Bay beginning to crank it up as well. CRI continuing to pursue. Commencement Bay might be catching up with CRI. We'll have to see how it all works out as Texas comes down to the line. A big push, some power from CRI right at the end. But at the finish line in the C final, the women's 4, it's Texas number 1. CRI 2, Commencement Bay in 3rd. Nice showing from Mount St. Joseph coming across the line in 4th. And here comes that green boat from Chattanooga in 5th. And the boat from Utah in 6th in the women's C final for the women's 4. Another C final coming down as we are racing the possible weather delay due to incoming weather in the women's lightweight 8 C final. A battle going on already, 500 meters in. Holy Names in lane 1, Arch City lane 2, Greenwich lane 3, PNRA Mercer lane 4, Sarasota lane 5, Mount Baker in lane 6. And we just have a new notification, by the way, that crews for races 68 and 69, that's the men's lightweight 4s and the women's lightweight 4s, are returning to the docks. Again, crews for races 68 and 69 are returning to the docks. Coaches, please be ready to recover your crews from races 68 and 69. Crews for races 68 and 69 returning to the docks. Coaches, please be ready to recover your crews from these races. Down to David for the call on the women's lightweight 8C final.
Are the ladies from Greenwich. Greenwich with about a deck advantage over the boat in between Sarasota and Greenwich, which is PNRA Mercer. Those 3 boats are out from the rest of the field. 4th place boat in their bright green is Arch City up there in lane 2. But Sarasota crew trying to go start to finish. I know they were very disappointed yesterday. Their coxswain is Sydney Edwards, who coxed the U.S. Women's 8 at the Junior World Championships last year. So you've got some U.S. team pedigree in this boat, and she is, I can see her, she is really on these ladies, but as is the coxswain up there in lane 3 from Greenwich. These 2 boats, as they come through 1,000, Sarasota crew and Greenwich, are going to be absolutely dead heated through 1,000 meters. The only other boat that's connected with these 2 up front here is PNRA Mercer. Mercer in a black boat with primarily navy blue blades. They've got a horizontal red stripe. They're in between Sarasota crew and Greenwich, and they're about a half a length off of the pace that is being set by these 2 boats up front. It is stroke for stroke. What a tremendous race in these 8s. Literally the same speed, Greenwich and Sarasota crew. Looks like Greenwich took a move there at 1,000. It really only gave him about a seat and put it to just dead even between Sarasota crew and Greenwich in this C final of the girls' lightweight 8. The only other boat that has the speed to go with them is PNRA Mercer. They're within striking distance, about 4 seats off the pace being set by these 2 boats up front. It is too close to call. It is one of the best races we've seen all weekend. Greenwich in lane 3, Sarasota crew in lane 5 at 12:50. They are dead even. Maybe a foot now for Greenwich. Maybe Greenwich has a foot on Sarasota crew. That's how close it is. Whoever's in the water is really pretty much in the lead between these 2 crews, and they are both pulling out just a little bit from PNRA Mercer, who still has an overlap, but it is a Greenwich lead right now of a deck in their white boat up there over Sarasota crew, and Sarasota crew has about 5 seats on PNRA Mercer. Those are your top 3. Behind them, it does look like Arch City in lane 2 is hanging on to 4th place in their bright green. But this race really just couldn't get any closer. A tremendously exciting race. I'm going to give it to you at the finish line. Greenwich with the deck now over Sarasota crew. Sarasota crew 5 seats over PNRA Mercer.
Exciting racing here as we try to wrap up things before the weather delay. Again, wow, look at this race between Sarasota and Greenwich going deck to deck. And it looks like Greenwich continuing to fend off the advances, but PNRA Mercer in the mix right there. Arch City trying to hang on, as is Holy Names and Mount Baker as they come down the course.
There's one more race, and then they called the other 2 off.
Greenwich and Sarasota continue to duel. PNRA Mercer trying to maintain their position in the mix as they come down to 300 meters to go in the C final for the women's lightweight 8s here at the 2017 U.S. Rowing Youth National Championships. PNRA Mercer trying to make a move now, trying to bite into that lead in that duel and dogfight between The Greenwich and Sarasota boats. All three beginning to pull away from the field, but Greenwich beginning to apply the power. In the meantime, Holy Names beginning to give Arch City a run for their money. And coming up in lane 6, it's Mount Baker. Less than 100 meters to go in the women's lightweight eights. Greenwich trying to hold on as PNRA Mercer and Sarasota continue to surge. Greenwich continuing to fend off their advances. It's Sarasota digging deep, trying to catch up as they approach the line. 10 meters from the end, Sarasota surging, but at the line, Greenwich by just a hair. Sarasota in second, PNRA Mercer in third. Here comes the fight for fourth. A big surge here from Mount Baker on the outside, but it looks like Arch City did take it, and then Mount Baker and Holy Names, but all within less than a second of each other. Exciting racing here in the C final for the women's lightweight eights.
The next race, of course.
The last race for the morning before the weather delay is on the course right now. Again, a reminder to coaches and rowers that the boats for races 68 and 69 have been called back to the docks. You will need to be there to recover the boats from races 68 and 69. But right now, the men's C final for the men's 4 is on the water, and David Wyant has the call.
Have two boats out in front. It's lane 1, Sarasota Crew in their blue boat, and lane 4, Mount Baker. Mount Baker out there. Nope, it's really dead even between Sarasota Crew and Mount Baker. Maybe Sarasota Crew with a slight edge. Your third place boat is the boat in lane 5 from Cincinnati Juniors. Cincinnati Juniors with maybe 2 feet over the boat right in front of us in lane 6 from Port with maybe a couple of feet over the boat from Albany in lane 3. This is a tremendous race right now. Very, very close racing up front. You have a new leader. It's lane 4. Lane 4 is Mount Baker. They have maybe a foot now on Sarasota Crew. Sarasota Crew was the early leader trying to hang on up there. And here comes lane 5 as well. Lane 5, the gentleman from Cincinnati Juniors, all in the mix. Oh my God, this is amazing racing right here. 5 boats. You can see all 5 bows here separated by about 6 or 7 feet. It looks like Mount Baker maybe by about a foot over Sarasota Crew. And here comes that boat in lane 5 from Cincinnati Juniors. You can see that the stroke man and the bow man are on the starboard side. There is a little bit of a bucket, or there is a bucket on the port side of that Cincinnati Juniors boat as these gentlemen row through a little bit of not as flat a water as we had even for the last race. So you're seeing some water come up. And some of these strokes, as they row into a little bit of a chop, are pretty interesting here. But your leader still is Mount Baker, but God, it's so close. It's difficult for me to really even tell. It's Mount Baker out there. It is lane 3. Albany has really pushed up quite a bit. They were at one point in 4th or 5th place. They are right in the mix with Mount Baker. Sarasota Crew has fallen back to 3rd. Sarasota Crew in 3rd up there in lane 1, holding off just barely the Cincinnati Juniors in lane 5. And then Cincinnati Juniors with a deck over the boat in lane 6 from Port. And you could just see kind of the rollers coming in. You're getting it on the camera. There's a lot of water flying up in the air. These coxswains that are laying down in the front of the boats are probably getting a bit of a shower as they come down the race course here. But this is racing, and these gentlemen are all putting it down. You've got a new leader. It's Albany. Albany is your new leader. They have been playing this thing from the get-go. Really, it seems like they're going the same speed all the way down the race course, and that is working for them now. They have passed about 3 or 4 boats in the last 750 meters, and through the 1250, it is Albany in front. White boat, white blades. They have half a length now on Mount Baker in lane 4. Mount Baker in lane 4 in a white boat with a bucket rig on the starboard side. Has about a deck on Sarasota Crew up there in lane 1. Sarasota Crew with a full length on 4th place Port in lane 6. So it's starting to space out a little bit, but you do have 3 boats connected up front. Albany out in front of Mount Baker and Sarasota Crew. And a big push here from lane 6 in front of us, Port, to try to get into the mix. They are connected with Sarasota Crew, who is sitting up there in 3rd place. I'll give it to the finish line. Albany out in front of this awesome race in the men's Youth 4.
The wind and weather beginning to kick up here at the Nathan Benderson Park in Sarasota. A little bit of storm and rain action coming in, not lightning necessarily, but the wind is picking up, and you can see the chop and the effect on this very close race, what was a very close race. Some of these boats are beginning to splash and waller a little bit, so that makes the racing a little bit difficult. But in the lead right now, making their way through the troughs, it's Albany. Albany leading Mount Baker by just a little bit. Sarasota, in the meantime, still in the mix, and Port trying to stay in as well. But these rowers are having a little bit of a challenge to try to deal with this weather. You can see that it can slow down those. If you can't make your blades go forward into the water and you're hitting water as you move forward, you're slowing down the boat. Albany continuing to lead, followed by Mount Baker. Right behind them is the boat from the Cincinnati Juniors. Are staying in 3rd for the moment right now. The other boats have begun to fall back, including the boats from Oars and Wilmington Youth. But coming down to the finish here in the C final for the men's 4s at the 2017 U.S. Rowing Youth National Championships. Albany in the lead by about a boat length, pursued by Mount Baker. Over there in lane 1, Sarasota beginning to make some headway into catching up with the boat from Mount Baker. It might be Sarasota at the end. They're pushing hard, but it's Albany with an open water lead right now as they're coming down to the line. In the C final for the men's 4s, it's Albany reaching the line first. A fight for second right now. Mount Baker trying to hold on. Sarasota surging, but it's Mount Baker in second. Sarasota in 3rd. The Port in 4th. Then Oars in 5th. The Cincinnati Juniors in 6th. Oh, I don't know. Wilmington may have came back in the end. We'll have to wait and see how it all works out, whether it was Wilmington or the Cincinnati Juniors at the end for that 6th place. But that is the final of the C finals. Due to the weather, we'll be going off the air. It's undetermined that we will be when we will resume. But we will let you know. Just stay in touch as a storm hits here. But thank you very much. Take shelter, ladies and gentlemen. Be careful.